Welcome, everyone, to episode 60 of the Circle Back Podcast.
Big 6-0.
The show where three great friends get together and just talk about video games. I'm Dan LaMarca. As always, I'm joined by Dan Dufresnoy.
Bonjour.
And Shelby White.
How you doing?
Dan got Shelby a little flustered over here. This is our big, giant E3 episode, so you probably already saw the time code. It's going to be a long one, guys. Before we get into all
You're
that...
welcome.
This is our gift to you.
Happy Monday.
This is our gift for Gamer Christmas. Before we get into all that, we're going to treat this like a normal episode in the beginning, and we're going to talk about what we've been playing because we have quite a few things to talk about.
It's going to be a long-ass episode.
I will start by saying I played Void Bastards.
Oh, cool.
And I think that is a very good game that I'm just not getting into.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. I don't have bad things to say about it except for it's a little repetitive.
Okay.
That's probably my only thing. But those of you that don't know, this is a combination of a FTL-style roguelike map, Slay the Spire where you start at one point, it branches different points. You can kind of see, like, okay, this ship is going to... It's actually pretty neat. It shows you a little graphic on the right side when you stop at a place, where it'll say, like, this ship will have some of this enemy type and a few of this enemy type, and it'll literally show the enemy.
Gotcha.
So it's pretty neat to, like, in that kind of game, to be like, ooh, I really don't want to see... I'm not good against those guys or whatever. I'm going to skip that one. I'm going to go over here. But you're basically... You have fuel and food, and every time you land, every time you dock, you use a fuel and a food, right? And that's kind of the roguelike top layer. You'll also get, like, it's not always just ships that you're going on. There's also, like, you're getting to this, there's this asteroid that, like, consumes all of your food if you pass by it. There's this place that'll give you 100 of a certain currency, stuff like that. But then when you land on one of the ships or stations, I guess, it goes into a first-person shooter style game.
Okay.
And it's very old-school Doom, like Doom 95 inspired, because it's like gun in the center, enemies running around, and they're actually like 2D models that have like a few different angles. So it's like you have the dead-on angle, you have the sideways angle, and you have the back angle. And so you'll see them literally like flip. Like it's not like an animation, it's not like a 3D model, and it's really fucking cool looking because it has that flat cell-shaded like comic book style to it.
I know it looked really cool. I remember when you were showing me the trailer, like aesthetically.
And I think it really, really works. And I think it's awesome. I think a lot of the writing is really funny. And the thing that I want to emphasize is I like this game and I want to keep playing this game. I think I've just been taken with other stuff. I don't think this is like a observation style thing where I like fall off of it because I'm like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I think I actually will get back to this one and get really into it because I really enjoyed my time with it. I probably played about 3 hours, and it's really great. Like I said, the repetition is a little. Like you get a layout of the map every time you go onto one of these space stations, right? And they all have almost like the same like different compartments. Like there's not a lot. I haven't seen a thing like you'd like to see in roguelikes where like something totally weird happens. You're like, whoa, what? Like I never expected this.
Yeah. So it's like an open room and then like a couple branching off rooms. Stuff like that.
But what I mean, so they actually have specific rooms where it'll be like, this is the generator room. And sometimes you'll get on a space station and the power's out.
Okay.
So you have to go there first if you want to, access some of the other stuff. The doors that are locked, you can't unlock until you turn the power on. There's cool stuff going on. It's just, I think the moment to moment is a little samey.
Okay.
But that's not like a killer for this because your stuff is different. When you die, you come back. So basically, the thrust of the beginning of the game is you're a prisoner, and in this universe, in this future, all the prisoners are on this prison ship, and they're dehydrated like husks. so that they can be stored easier. So like they're literally like tiny little dehydrated things, and then when it's time for you to let go or get out, you get rehydrated, you become your human form again. So it's, and like I said, the writing's actually really funny. I know Kara Ellison worked on this, who's like a really, really good writer. And yeah, I mean, that's the setup. And then when you die, they just go back and grab another prisoner. So you actually do get random, almost Rogue Legacy style traits from these people. So it'll be like, this person is a smoker. So randomly, and a lot of this game is like sneaking around because you have limited ammo. Your health doesn't refill between space stations.
Or you just start hacking
so you
up
start
a lung?
coughing randomly. so you could like alert people randomly and
without realizing.
Yeah, exactly. So another one would be I forget what they call it, but it's like excited or something, where every time you pick something up, the guy just goes, woo! Like, and that'll alert people too.
Wait, that's really funny.
But then there's some really good stuff that'll be like, he's a engineer or something, so your guy knows the layout of a place just by being on it or something. Like they do, the good roguelike type stuff. So that's what I'm saying. I do like this game a lot. I just have not really gotten super into it. A really good bit they do is like your mission. There's like a main mission, and then you're also just doing your roguelike stuff. Like, all right, I want to get these credits. I want to go to the shop, get, upgrade my guy. But there's also like a main mission, and it's like you need to build an ID card, because in order to get to where you want to go, you need to like scan an ID card. And they're like, where's your ID card, prisoner? Oh, wait, it was taken from you and shredded because you're a prisoner. So your first mission is like, get these two parts that make up an ID card. And then it's like, you have to get the HR computer. Like, it's like really silly, like, monotonous stuff, but you're fighting all these hundreds of enemies to get to it, so Void Bastards, it's on Game Pass. I'm playing it on Xbox One. Totally recommend it. I really like the game.
I have it downloaded. I downloaded it off Game Pass, but I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Right.
Got so much other stuff going on.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would recommend it. Cool. I heard it's not super long. The cool thing it does is anything that so you're getting upgrades as like to your weapons as well, and you're finding different parts that make up new weapons, and you get to choose like one primary, one secondary, and one like grenade type thing to take on each space station. And like a lot of them have different ammo types, so you'll find different ammos. You'll be like, okay, I want to take this gun because I have more ammo, but anything you upgrade is permanently upgraded for future runs.
Oh, that's really
nice. The only
nice.
thing you lose is all of your currencies and your food and your fuel.
I think Rogue Legacy was the same way, wasn't it?
Well, you had a specific thing you were like, you were upgrading like that castle type thing. Right. Yeah. But yeah, it has all the stuff that I really like.
Cool.
Like I said, I've just been playing some other stuff that we can get into. But yeah, that was Void Bastards. I'll let Shelby talk about this part, but if you guys don't know, we've been doing a video series, Sekiro, Shelby dies twice, and this time his enemies had died.
Your boy beat it.
Yay, Shelby!
So, beat Sekiro.
So Shelby beat Sekiro. Now he joined the Beat Sekiro Club, and Dan had just done it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I know. Way to steal my thunder, Shelby. I was riding high for. I'm just kidding, man. That's awesome. That's really awesome.
Man, my first FromSoft game was exciting. It was fun.
That's
Thank
crazy.
God Dan was there with me.
Honestly, like you did, like seriously, like I've been following the videos.
Really good
you like are so good at it.
Oh, until the end of the game.
No, still, still. That was like probably one of the quickest like ways to beat Ishin. Like seriously,
I'm just so happy that he had the exact same experience as me of all of a sudden you look at your emblems and they're gone.
Yeah.
Because you use them all
Yeah.
fighting Ishin so many times.
And then you gotta go back and fight the.
Yeah. Oh, it's the worst.
You guys had the same ending that I did, and I hear that there's like other.
Yeah,
And you
I
mentioned
talked
it
a
on
little
the-
bit
on
on
the
that.
episode.
Yeah.
But now we got to do our spoiler cast.
I would love to do a
Yeah.
spoiler cast on
So
Sekiro.
yeah, look for that in this feed within the next couple weeks. I think we're gonna get that.
That'd be
get that
awesome.
going.
Definitely.
Shelby, congratulations.
Well, I thank you, sir.
Yes.
Great job.
What do you think? High level thoughts, Sekiro.
It's an incredible game. It's
Yeah.
absolutely incredible.
Give
I
me some
just like that it's
low-level
like-
thoughts, please.
No, here's
It's
what I liked
good.
about it. Just from never playing like Dark Souls and stuff like that, and looking at this game, and I like how much they didn't. I wouldn't say they took a risk. They didn't take a risk, but they changed up their gameplay, but made it so familiar at the same time, and making it much quicker paced combat. Not an evade system, really not an evade system, you know, and just focusing on the deflects and the posture. Like, I've only watched Dark Souls and Bloodborne and stuff like that, and for them to go like this and nail it, like it's awesome. They nailed it. You know,
Yeah,
like
they really can't do any wrong.
and
right?
it's incredible. Plus the story's just, it's good.
It really is.
Yeah. I'm just so curious if you go back and play like Bloodborne or like Dark Souls, because like it is like
Yeah,
the
am I gonna
mechanics are
fucking
different.
suck at those? You know, like
Sekiro was like a
see what
really hard
happens.
learning curve for me because I was trying to play it like a Souls
like an older game, yeah. Like
And
I do
you can't.
to right up until the very end. I tried to evade and jump way too much.
Yeah.
You know, like it was just I don't know what it is. Just in my nature of playing third, like
Right,
just
yeah.
action games like that, third person. Just trouble, get away. Yeah. So it's
Oh,
but I
man.
super enjoyed it. Can't wait for the spoiler cast.
Cool.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
For sure.
So we'll dive into that. I know.
Also, go watch Sekiro Shelby Dies Twice on
Yeah.
YouTube.
You
It's
should.
really awesome, and I'm
Yeah.
not just saying that because it's my friends. Like it really is really awesome. I really enjoyed every second of
I
that.
think it's funny. I like the first 10 episodes. Like did pretty all right. Got up to the monkey. Spent an entire episode fighting that goddamn monkey, and then did pretty well for the rest of the time. And then spent like 2 episodes fighting
Listen, most people
the final
can relate,
boss.
man.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
horrible.
exactly.
And you still did incredible. I really like
No, I
that was
enjoyed
quicker
the
than
crap out of it.
anybody.
It wouldn't have gone so quick if Dan wasn't there helping me, though. That's for sure. Just helping me
you
along
were
the
good
way,
on your own.
letting me know what to do.
Shelby, you were born to play this game. Just
You know
like
what's
your
so
father and his father.
I
before.
realized like afterwards, I never used any of my Goku sugars, or
yeah, honestly,
Yeah,
I was never
especially.
really. Yeah,
I didn't even think about it.
That's kind of a FromSoft thing.
Yeah, you
I
just
always
have a
end the
shit
game
ton
with
of
a million
stuff, yeah,
different things.
Yeah, whatever.
All right, so we'll dig into that more on the spoiler cast.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
You can look for that in the near future.
Again, you're welcome.
Dan, I know that you beat a game that I've been talking about. You finished a Plague Tale Innocence.
So I got through it. I finished it.
So what are your final thoughts?
Final thoughts are, and you kind of touching on it last time. I don't know where I was. I was maybe halfway through last time we talked about it, and I really liked it. But there is sort of this I want to say monotony because it's definitely like an intriguing world and an intriguing story.
Well,
but
it's the sequel to Ratatouille, right?
it's definitely rats for sure. That's definitely yeah. But I was getting to a point where it just kind of seemed like it was dragging a little bit, and there's sort of story beats. I was just kind of like, okay. But last few chapters really, really picked up, and I really, really like the way that they ended it. I don't want to spoil anything, but they ended it in a way that like you didn't think it would go.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not a Disney ending, so it's definitely I like when games so Ratatouille was very lighthearted and they went for something different. I like when they they changed it up a little bit. So at the end of the day, really, really good game.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed my time with it. It's interesting. I was looking at the games I played this year, and already, it would be my top 10 now, bottom 10. But then, there's so many other games coming out.
You're kind of looking ahead and being like, wow, look at these games. And
But like,
then-
it's a game that you said it's important for what they're doing, and they really took a big risk. Here's a small studio that made this full length game. This big epic story and things like that. And I really, really enjoyed it, and I really had a good time with it.
Yeah, cool. My pure like how I feel about the game is love a lot of the aesthetic and some of the shots and some of the visual stuff. The overall story I like a lot. I think some of the moment to moment beats miss, but I think overall as like a overarching story, I think it's really cool. They do some cool stuff.
Yeah, and there's certain characters. There's the one I don't want to spoil, but the one guy when he's pushing the cart.
Yeah.
That whole
Man.
whole scene. I was like, wow, that's like
But that's
really well
so
done.
they hit a lot of those moments that I'm like, oh man, like that was really really
Yeah.
cool. That it makes it so that it's like this game probably will get lost in the shuffle,
Mm-hmm.
and I could see it, falling off of a top 10 list, but it's right there in the mix. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it is a really really good game, and if you're into, you like a good narrative, you like a little bit of a horror-y type of thing, I think you really
And
enjoy
nails
this
that. And
game.
you said last week, so I'm just gonna copy what you said. That it nails the horror perfectly, especially like the last battle, like that whole thing. Where I
Yeah.
was just like, this is so disgusting.
yeah.
You know.
No. So that was A Plague Tale: Innocence.
Mm-hmm. Definitely check it out. Worth it. You know.
I'd say definitely worth it.
I
And
think.
like I said, it's cool to see, a little like a mid-tier AAA game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All right, what should we do next? Let's talk about, Shelby, you've been playing a VR game?
I have. I've been playing Trover Saves the Universe, the Justin Roiland game, the Rick and Morty creators, and I played the first probably hour or so, and it's funny, man.
Yeah.
I really do
You
like
like
it. You obviously jump in there. There's like two characters that sound exactly like Rick and Morty and stuff. Like
Well, it's all
it's
him,
him.
right?
Yeah, it's him
It's
doing all those character voices, just with a little mix up and stuff like that. You get in. I forget what your race is called, but you like get in and you're locked to a chair. Not locked, but your race of people sit in chairs their entire lives, basically like the people from WALL-E, and you're called like a
wow.
Chairopian or something like that. And then this guy comes in and like tries to tell you what to do. And what I really like about it is because VR, with the PlayStation VR, you don't have a joystick control. Like you can't move yourself other than usually, as of right now, games I played, pointing
And
and
hitting the
clicking
trigger,
and going
yeah.
like that.
Right.
So what you do, you control Trover from your chair, and then you'll bring him to a node. Like there'll be a warp point somewhere in your vicinity, and you bring him to that, click the trigger, and then you zap to that warp point. But you get the free roam.
And what is Trover?
Trover is just some purple guy.
Is he like small?
No, he's like
Full size?
He's full size, kind of like he's taller than you and stuff. He just comes in a panic when you first start the game, and he comes in and he's just like, this guy, he put your dogs in his eyes and stuff. It's crazy. It's really hard to explain and sound like
I'm a
sane
huge
person.
Rick and Morty fan.
Yeah.
I'm a really big Rick and
Yeah.
Morty fan, but like Rick and Morty is like a really smart show, and some of the shit they do, I like roll my eyes at
Yeah.
sometimes. Like it's
Yeah.
like, okay, not digging this one.
Yeah.
I didn't like the Pickle Rick stuff, like everyone is in love with for some reason. But so I'm always kind of with Justin Roiland stuff. I'm like, is this the stuff I like that he does or not? You know what I mean?
You know what I feel like when I first started playing it? It's funny because you're sitting in the chair at first just watching TV, and the show is like a bad drama show, and it's just like, Vanessa, how come you never turn your chair? I always tell you to press right on the right stick and turn your chair. Like it's teaching you how to move yourself while watching TV. So it's like, it's smart and funny in that
Yeah.
sense. And the main villain, like I said, you have two dogs that look exactly like Snuffles or whatever the dog is in Rick and Morty. He puts them in his eyes, and they're now his eyeballs. And he's causing havoc, and everybody in the town
Oh, yeah, I've
blames
seen
you
pictures, it's like the
because
red
it's
and
your
green
dog.
thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He blames you, and he's like, "These are your dogs. Like, we're gonna kick your ass because your dogs are destroying our town now." And it's so silly. It actually feels like, when they watch interdimensional cable, it feels like an episode of that. Like you.
That's great.
You've
That-
jumped into a world of
That
one
sounds
of their.
good. That makes me want to see it.
That's cool.
And it's cool, but you go around and now there's a lot of stuff to collect. You could see something out in the distance. Those little things that Trover, whatever Trover's race is, they put stuff in their eyes. So like the enemy of the game is a bad version of him. He's like a giant bird that does that and puts your dogs in his eyes. And Trover has a red and a blue little, I don't even know what they're called, but they look like little versions of him in his eyes.
Okay.
And they have different abilities. And then you go out and you find green ones. And he's like, yeah, collect all the green ones. I'm going to get so high later off these green. I mean, the green ones are really good. You just got to collect the green ones. And he is constantly talking to you. It's so funny. And the first puzzle you come up to, because it has like puzzles to it.
And I'm sorry, but your direct control
Your
of Trover?
direct control
And
is
you're
of
just-
Trover.
So it's like a Moss type of thing where you're
Yes.
looking
And you're
at
overlooking,
something
yeah.
and you're moving.
Yes,
Okay.
100%. But you eventually, like in the first world, get this ability to go lift your chair up 2 levels and back
Okay.
down. So like if you need to pop Trover up over a log, you can't see on the other side of the log. You need to be able to lift up and see what's going on over there.
So you get like upgrade abilities. And
Yeah,
like
so
that.
very similar to Moss, yes, where you're this overlooking thing.
Okay, and you were saying the first puzzle or something.
So you come up to a puzzle and stuff, and this is in the first like 10 minutes of the game. So you come up to a puzzle and you got to solve the puzzle. The first one's super easy. It's like pressing buttons, and it's just like a right trigger to press the button from where you're sitting. And you do the first button, then you pop up, and you do the second. Oh, sorry, puzzle. Then you pop up to the second puzzle. You get to the third one. It's like a much tougher puzzle. So you're like sitting there, and Trover's at the bottom. He's like, "Come on, we needed to open the door. Come on." Get it. We got to open this door. And then, like, if you're not getting it after the first couple tries, he's like, all right, fuck the puzzle. Get down here. We'll just bash the door down. He's like, come on, fuck the puzzle, man. So you could either sit there and figure it out, or he's just chirping in your ear the whole time.
That's
going,
awesome.
Dude, like, get down here. Let's just break this door open. And I don't want to ruin some of the jokes and stuff in it, but that's like the first 10 minutes you get to this stuff.
Right.
It's really fun, and I'm going to definitely play right through it.
Cool. That sounds great.
Has he ever done anything like this before, like a video game?
I know they've done
remember?
Rick and Morty games,
Yes.
but
Okay.
I've never
They
played
did a Rick and
any
Morty
of them.
VR game actually.
Yeah,
okay.
the virtual reality or something
That I heard
like
was pretty good. Too.
Yeah, and I think they have a mobile game as well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Which is actually where Get Swifty. Get Swifty was like a made-up song that he made up for a game, and they were like, "This needs to be in an episode."
And I'm telling you, I understand that these things are easily like people say Pickle Rick because it rhymes, people remember it. Get Swifty is like a weird little thing to say, but it's like these are not the good parts of the show. Like, why are we like hanging on those?
Yeah,
Like I don't get it. Because like it is a really funny, like well-written show with like some really interesting like storylines and stuff. But it's like people are obsessed with the weird like the shit that I'm like, oh my god, all right.
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't want to get too far into it. The game's great. I want to keep playing it, and yeah, it's fun.
All right,
Cool.
so that's Trover Saves the Universe.
Yeah.
I will talk. You know what? I'll save that one. Dan, you have 2 games on this list that I have played, and now you've just picked up. Which one do you want to talk about?
Oh, well, so I picked up Slay the Spire.
Okay.
For those of you that don't know, it's on
Did
the
you get
Switch
it? You
now.
got it on the Switch?
Yeah, which is awesome because the Switch is just the best
Good,
console
good
of all
fit
time,
for that
honestly.
game. Yeah. Good fit for that game.
I love it, though, because I remember when it was, so it's officially released this year, right? That's the
Yes.
thing.
Came out of early access beginning of January.
Okay, because I remember you playing it, I think, on early access.
Yes.
I remember watching you play it. It was really, really interesting. And then, it was on Switch, so I picked it up.
Even Ralph said he was playing it too. He said he's having a great time.
It's a
with
lot
it.
of fun.
Yeah.
It's a roguelike. You have 3 different characters that you can choose between, if you play through enough runs. It's a roguelike game, so it is a rogue game. You got you got 4 tiers or whatever before you slay the spire. And you can branch different paths. You can see on a map, there's 4 routes, and there's an enemy here, then there's a treasure chest, or there's 2 enemies here, but then there's a question mark,
or a boss, or a campfire.
And I'm having a great time. I really like the dichotomy between like the different characters. Like it really is
really
like
cool,
it plays like a completely different game depending on which like class.
Do they have those unlocked for you right away, or do you?
No, so I have the names of the characters went right out of my head. The knight guy, Ironclad.
Ironclad.
He was the first, and then I played a run through him, and I think I just beat the second boss.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's boss based or just play as the character based, because then it unlocked. The next
is there
person.
like a experience bar that fills up after each run? That's how it is on the PC, where like after the run it'll like tick up, and then a bar will tick up.
Missed it.
Maybe,
I didn't see it, but it totally could be.
He's just so excited he got through the run. He wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, no, I was so excited. My first run, I really was like trying to be careful about it. I beat through the second boss, and I was like, wow,
That's great.
not bad. And then it unlocked the next person.
And then you played one as a silent.
That's the silent, yes, with like she has the the arrows and things like that.
So what the important distinction is, each character has not only a different starting relic, which relics are like the things that interact with your deck. They're like, different bonuses or strange things that'll happen. So the Ironclad starts with a relic that says after each battle you gain 6 HP, right? Is that what it is? 6?
Oh yeah. It depends.
Then you can upgrade it, whatever. But as the silent, it's you draw 2 extra cards each turn, or something.
You have less HP.
They have their own HP levels, but the important part is the decks have completely different cards that you can even find.
Right. Like, just for those of you that don't know, it's like Magic the Gathering meets a rogue game. You're playing with cards.
You have a set amount of mana or energy, they call it, and you play. Each card has a different energy cost and stuff, but they each of the characters have completely unique, not only starting decks, but cards that you get, because you'll get cards each time you win a battle. You get one card to choose from, right? And each character have completely different cards that you could get. So you're starting to see different strategies and stuff in the cards.
Who was your did you ever get through? Did you ever Slay the Spire?
Yes, Dan? I have Slayed the Spire as the silent.
Okay.
I went on a heavy poison build.
Okay.
And poison is excellent against bosses because you can just build it up, and there are certain cards that you can get, like this one called Noxious Fumes, which is one of the card types is I forget if they call it abilities, something powers. Okay. And they're actually you play the card once and then your character has a certain special power. And the one called Noxious Fumes is each turn all enemies gain 2 poison.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it just stacks and
I haven't
stacks.
Found that yet.
So if you're able to survive, and then you also have poison cards you're throwing, bouncing flask, which bounces 3 times and gives 3 poison. Poison stab. You get 3 poison and do 6 damage. You're just stacking it, and you can really take down bosses.
That's awesome.
Quick.
It's a really lot of fun, and I'd recommend it too, Shelby, or for anybody that I don't think it was that much. It might have been $20.
Yeah, I saw it on there. You know what? I just happened to buy a few. I bought 3 Switch games and Trover Saves the Universe. So I was just I'll get it, but let me play through everything first.
It's really a lot of fun, and I'm not particularly. I like road games. I'm not particularly a fan of those sort of card game things. But honestly, I'm having a blast with it. And what I really like the most, and this is just because this is the kind of person that I am. I like sort of narratives, and even if it's just environmental storytelling, I like how there's certain when you go on a path and there's certain these little question marks that have these little weird things happen, very Darkest Dungeon esque. It really, you kind of get not, it's very cryptic, but depending on who you're playing as, I remember I played as an Ironclad, and I think I got to one of those question mark areas, and there was this weird whale god thing, and you didn't know what it was. You read it was like a tome, and it said oh, the god Noon or whatever, whatever. And then I played as the Silent, and I got to one of those question marks, and there was that god, and he was I'll grant you a special ability or whatever, and I'm curious.
So at the start, you've done one run with each of them. Is that what you did?
Yes.
So each time you restart, you actually meet with the whale god before you do your run.
Oh, that wasn't a special thing that only I figured out?
Well, what I'm saying is, there definitely is that, but right in the beginning, before you even enter the dungeon, it'll the whale will be okay, choose one of these, and it'll give you a bunch of options.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So, yeah. That is totally a game that the best way I could say to play it is just replay a couple times. You'll start to learn what cards you like, what cards you don't like, and it's just such an excellent deck builder.
Yeah, it's really well made.
Yeah, and it lives and dies by that, right? It's very well balanced, really smartly done. It's a hell of a game.
Everybody go Slay the Spire.
Yeah, go Slay the Spire. All right, so I know you have another one, Dan. Before we get into that, I want to talk about Outer Wilds.
Oh, yes.
So I beat Outer Wilds. It's a longer game than you may expect. I think it took me about 15 hours-ish, something like that. Right away, I'll say, in a year that Sekiro came out, I think Outer Wilds might be my game of the year.
Bold statement, Kai.
Jeez Louise.
This game,
I better throw this water bottle at you.
This game is so special, guys. You need to play this game.
Oh my God.
I started it. I haven't left the first planet, so I'm in. I totally want to.
I have to explain to you. People use the phrase "take your breath away," "took my breath away," stuff like that. When something actually takes your breath away, you think about it. You know what I'm saying? There were multiple occasions where just entering something, literally getting chills, and it's just cartoony looking, you know what I mean? But it just puts you in that space in such a way. And this is such a hard game to talk about because I will not talk about any more specifics than I already did.
Yeah.
But it does something. So Interstellar, the movie, is a movie that I love, and if it didn't have a couple of issues, it'd probably be like one of my favorite movies of all time. Like, because the different space interactions with the different planets and how different things work.
Mm-hmm.
This is super vague and it doesn't make any sense, but if you have seen the movie, you understand what I'm saying. The way that stuff plays out, that kind of sci-fi is like the coolest shit to me. Like, I love that kind of stuff. And this game like takes like hard science and like, you know, different, you know, properties of like, you know, physics and philosophy, and it just weaves this incredible narrative along with these exciting, incredible, like, visual moments that are like just give a visceral reaction. And the ending of this game like affected me in a way that I don't think I've ever felt in a game before. It was just so like,
gosh, like
so,
right hook, left hook, man.
So
That's
fucking good,
wow.
man. I'm telling you, Outer Wilds, and I know not enough people are gonna play this game because this really is like, this is a very special
looks
game.
like I'm buying an Xbox today. Father's Day sale, anyone?
Free on Game Pass.
So yeah,
Wow.
I can't really talk much more in detail. We'll spoil the shit out of it in Game of the Year, but
It's amazing.
I adore this game, and I don't really have anything bad to say about it. It's just an incredible game that offers an experience unlike anything I've ever played. It's
Perfect
awesome.
game, 10 out of 10.
I would never say a perfect game.
9.97. Yeah.
I never said I'd never give it a 10. I just said I would never call something a perfect game. But Outer Wilds really, and you know, I'm saying, I wanted to preface you with that, hey, this really might be my game of the year, to like, you know, I was kind of doing it for a little bit of a shock factor on Dan, but what I mean genuinely is like, I adore this game, and it genuinely is like one of my favorite games this year, if not like one of my favorite games. Like, I love this game.
That's amazing.
Of all time.
So that's Outer Wilds. Again, free on Game Pass. You can play it on Xbox. It's on PC on the Epic Games Store.
Oh, okay.
Those are the only two spots for now. I obviously think it's coming other places eventually.
Switch.
I don't know about Switch. We'll see. It's kind of I think Switch might struggle with it a little bit. But yeah, that's Outer
That's
Wilds.
amazing, man.
Yeah,
Cool.
I beat it. Couldn't be happier with the way it turned out.
You like Outer Wilds, don't you, Squidward?
All right, Dan. Let's talk about that other game you've been playing. Devil May Cry 5.
Oh yes, I was like,
He's like,
I
oh,
play
crap.
video games. Yeah, Devil May Cry 5.
How much time you put into it?
I'm actually halfway through. I
Oh,
want to
okay.
say there's
Very nice.
20 chapters.
Yeah.
I think I'm
I
on
don't know.
chapter 11.
Yeah. It's
It's
not super long.
It's not.
Yeah.
What's weird is I'm going like very quick through it. I
Yeah.
don't know if Devil May Cry games are hard. I don't know if they're supposed like. I feel like I'm having a very easy time just like breezing through
I think that's
the levels.
Unless you're somebody that really loves that kind of stuff, I think that's the way to play this game.
It's just button mashing pretty
Yeah.
much. It's just, but I'm loving it. I really like, you know, I remember when you were playing it when it first came out. I don't know anything about the series, so what I did before I played it was like on YouTube they have 10-minute lore, everything you need to know.
I definitely do that too.
And I'm not sure you even needed to know that stuff
Yeah.
for this
No.
game. It's like super angsty, but like in a good way that like it knows it's being super over the top. There's so many moments that you roll your eyes at, but then you can laugh at because you're like, okay,
they're laughing
trying
with
to
you.
be-
Yeah.
Like V's my
Love that
favorite
tone.
character
So
because
good.
he's like this, like he looks like Adam
Reading a
Driver,
book, yeah.
and like
Oh, is he the one you said like the
Reads
Shakespearean
poetry,
shit?
yeah.
he's like over it. He's just like done with everybody, and like there'll be like a huge monster, and he'll be like, I'm just gonna leave that for Nero, and he's like walks away and reads poetry, and like something like that. But it's really, really good. And I mean, first off, it's beautiful. Absolutely,
Yeah, it
It
really
looks
is.
incredible.
Yeah.
one of the most beautiful looking games.
Yeah.
And the gameplay, not that it's anything complex, but there's enough. You get to play as 3 different characters over the course of the game. Maybe there's even
Forced, or
more.
can you just choose one and play him the whole time?
You're
Or-
forced, but eventually you can go back and you can
And
kind
pick whoever you want,
There's
yeah.
certain
Well, that's
levels
good. That's a
where
good way.
can,
You should have to.
There are certain levels where they make you pick one. Like
Right.
they give you a choice.
Yeah.
Right. So like you can pick from 1 or 2 or whatever.
And they
Gotcha.
actually encourage you to replay those as the other person because it's different. they want it to be like it's happening in real time.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, there's a point
so like
where
you can see a different thing
viewpoint.
in that level.
Yeah.
Fight a
Like,
different boss even.
you have
sometimes.
the two. At one level, you have. I'll just.
If the
it's
guy's
not
like
really spoiling.
split, yeah.
You can play as V or you can play as Nero. And one level at least that I got up to. And what's cool is that I chose V because I'm actually really good at him. I play as V, and then like I look over to my side and you see Nero doing his thing, like on the other side of the wall or whatever. And you go to different areas and you see Nero doing his thing, and you're doing your thing.
Well, a cool little touch to that is that's actually somebody online, another player.
Whoa, I did not know that.
Yeah, it's like a journey style thing of they take their playthrough data and show you what they did during it.
Oh wow, that's actually really cool.
It's cool, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
really cool.
But it's really awesome, and I really, I'm really just honestly, all I can really say is like I'm really enjoying it. I really have nothing.
Yeah.
It's not like oh my gosh, I love this.
Right.
You got to play it.
But it's like a really fun, like interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
And I really like how through each character, it is a completely different game. When you play between Nero, V, and Dante, like playing through them all, like they each have their own different like shtick that you got to get used to, and like it's really enjoyable.
The only thing in that game that I really liked playing as V. Like I actually really enjoyed the gameplay.
Yeah.
And then when I had to play someone else, I was kind of like, ah.
But right,
like I still enjoyed it, but it was like if I could just play as V in this game, I think I would enjoy the game more.
That's so funny that you say that because I feel the same like exact way. Like I love V and I love his character. And I thought it would be lame at first because you're only playing with his animals, his panther.
Yeah, but it's
and his
so
bird.
cool, isn't it?
I'm telling you, I get more savage points like with him.
Yeah.
So the whole game is like it's all about being stylish. So like you get bonus points the cooler you look and the cooler things that you do. And it's awesome. I think with V I got like the super sexy styly one or whatever.
Awesome.
Like those like points.
It's ridiculous. I just started playing the first Devil May Cry, and you could see that's like you start hitting stuff, and it's like cool. That sucked. Like awesome.
Exactly.
And you could see the first DNA part of that.
So it definitely wears its heart on its sleeve.
I'm excited to give it a try. I definitely want to play.
You've been playing the first one.
I start because I bought the HD trilogy, so I started playing the first one. It's old and cringy as hell.
I love that this has become Shelby's shtick.
Yeah.
It's like a new game comes out in a series, and he's like,
I gotta start from the beginning. Well, speaking of that, like
I respect
I'm just
that
playing
so
the
much.
It can't be that long. I mean, what does it take to beat the first one? I think there's 20 missions as well, and I played through like the first 5 in half an hour.
Right.
So like, what is it gonna take me? 5 hours to beat the game?
Yeah, they're not long.
They're not super long, so it's whatever. And it's super, like I said, cringy. Absolutely ridiculous in the beginning. But is it? You know what?
It is
whatever.
ridiculous,
It is what it is.
I think it kind of morphs into what it is now.
Yeah.
I don't think it was always as self-aware.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I-
And now
yeah.
they know
Oh, it definitely wasn't.
Yeah. Now in 5 especially, it's so self-aware and it makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It does. Isn't it just like sometimes you're watching these cutscenes, you're like,
It's
look
like,
at these
this is
fucking
so
goofs.
stupid.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like
Yeah. It's
one of those things. You're like a monster will show up and it'll be like, oh, bad breath, like one of those things, and you're just like, this is so bad, but like,
Oh, that's ridiculous.
it's fun. It's just a fun like romp. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
It really,
For sure.
I really enjoy it, and that I might have oversold it earlier in the year, but the best thing I could say about it is like, hey, when this game is like $30-$40,
That's what I got it for $40.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, play the hell out of this because it's definitely worth it. And it's a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like,
And I
it's not
honestly-
gonna blow your mind. It's not gonna like be
Yeah.
your favorite game ever, probably, unless you really love Devil May Cry.
But there are
I know
ton-
Ralph
yeah.
loves Devil May Cry.
There's a ton of people out there who love those button mash games because it's just simple, mindless, easy to play, have a great time.
Well, so
games, you know?
yes, so but the thing I want to caution before every single Devil May Cry fan wants to kill you, Shelby,
Yeah.
is that a lot of people like playing these on the higher difficulties because it actually does have the depth to make you think about everything you're doing. You know what I mean? It's not
Good.
just so it can be button mashy. Like me and Dan are probably both
I'm
playing
on the human mode
on
or whatever.
human,
It's like
and we're
right.
like, who cares? We're here for the story. Just have
Yeah.
fun, whatever. But some people might play it on the hardest difficulty, and it's really tough, and they have to be tactical about their moves and
it's certain
stuff.
combos and things that you can
Yeah.
learn
I
and
could
stuff like that.
definitely see
But
that.
it's cool that it's both. You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I like about this game.
Like
is
honestly, once I beat it, I'm not sure I'd go back to it. But like
No.
as I'm playing
Yeah.
it now, like
it's fun.
Yeah, having fun
I'm just
playing it.
enjoying
Yeah.
it.
That's good.
It's
That's
Cool.
So I noticed in the first one, there's nowhere to block. So it's like if it was on a harder difficulty, I'd be getting my ass handed to me. That's
Right,
damn
right,
sure.
right.
Because
Yeah.
your block is really just a jump as high as you can
Right.
and slam down because they're gonna whoop your ass if you're on the
Right.
ground.
Yeah, it's definitely attack first.
Oh yeah, 100%.
All right, so that's Devil May Cry 5.
Mm-hmm.
Last game on this list is one I'm super excited to talk about, and I think all three of us have been playing.
Oh yeah.
Cadence of Hyrule.
Oh yes.
Yes.
So I actually beat it.
You did.
How? What
It's
the heck?
actually, it didn't take me very long.
Well, it's like a roguish in a way, right?
Right.
Like you can,
So two things. One, people that don't know,
I've said actually we should take a shot every time we say rogue today.
Yeah,
like I
I
feel
know.
like I've said
how about in
that
general?
many
Because
times.
we talk about a lot of roguelikes. Right off the bat, this is Crypt of the Necrodancer. First of all, I actually need to look up the title because it's absolutely hilarious. The full title of this game,
Cadence of Hyrule.
it's Cadence of Hyrule, a Zelda story. No, Crypt of the Necrodancer featuring
The Legend
of Zelda.
Yeah.
Let me see exactly. Yeah. Cadence of Hyrule, Crypt of the Necrodancer featuring The Legend of Zelda.
Beautiful.
Fucking awesome. But really, if you guys don't know what Crypt of the Necrodancer is, I loved this game when it came out, Crypt of the Necrodancer. I think I showed Dan
I
like
remember, yeah,
3 or 4 years
it was a while
ago when it was in early access. I was playing it on Steam. So it's a rhythm-based roguelike. And so it's like a isometric viewpoint, and it's tile-based. So you're using, when Crypt of the Necrodancer especially came out, using the arrow keys, and you're going on the beat. So if you want to move up, you're hitting up, up, up on the beat with the song, and at the bottom, you see these two lines coming together, and in Crypt of the Necrodancer, it's a beating heart. So you want to hit your keys on time when the lines match up with a heart, with the beating heart. And what you're doing is there's no attack button or anything. It's just you're moving in the direction of the enemy in time with the beat, and you'll swing.
Right. The enemy moves with the beat too, right?
Exactly, yes. So
Yeah.
some of them move every other beat. Some of them move 2 squares per beat. Like, they have different patterns.
And they'll telegraph it sometimes if you pay attention. If you
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a super, top level of what Crypt of the Necrodancer is. So I love that game when it came out. And then they announced recently, I think it was a Nintendo Direct earlier this year or late last year, they announced Cadence of Hyrule, made by the same team that made Crypt of the Necrodancer, and it's Zelda, obviously, if you didn't get that. So I knew exactly what to expect. I'm like, this game's going to be awesome. I love Crypt of the Necrodancer, and it's Zelda. And it totally blew my expectations out of the water. It is so much better than I ever could have imagined it could be, because it's a Zelda game. You know what I mean?
It's definitely Link's Awakening.
Yeah, that's
Crypt of
what
the
I mean.
They
Necrodancer, like-
made a fucking Zelda game
Yeah.
where it's like the dungeons are really interesting. There's like a lot of cool puzzle solving, and they do an amazing thing of, so normally in Crypt of the Necrodancer, it was you can only move on the beat all the time. This is every time you get to a screen, because the game is built out like Link to the Past style. The map is made up of a certain amount of discrete screens. So you move to the right, screen moves. There's this piece of the map. So each discrete screen, when you beat every enemy in that area, it just allows you to move freely. So you don't need to keep the beat.
Yep.
So it allows you to explore. And I had never even thought about, because that was never a thing in Crypt of the Necrodancer. It was like you have to move to the beat all the time. But giving you that time to breathe allows them to make a Zelda-like
Right, where you can
experience
explore it, yeah.
where you can still get the exploration, and you can still solve puzzles and take your time to see, okay, how am I going to get this chest that's
Right,
up
how do
on the top here, whatever. They have all these, tons of different items. It's basically a huge love letter to all the Zelda games. I'm not going to talk about specifics, but you meet certain characters, that are in other games. They make the bosses into like musical versions of the bosses. It's just,
It's incredible.
What a
The
game.
game is incredible. I can't
What a
put it
game.
down.
Yeah.
Every time I put it down, I'm like, no, well,
I'll
come
play
on,
a
I
little
could beat
more,
that
yeah.
one. Yeah.
My final run time was 5 hours 35 minutes.
Nice.
So it's
I haven't beaten it yet.
it's
so,
not that long. Well, what I'm saying is it's not that long, And it definitely depends. You know, I played a shitload of Crypto Necrodancer, so I probably have an inherent advantage. So it's not taking me as long. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little easier.
Oh yeah, I don't know about you, but when I first
was
like
hard to
my
get
first
used to.
20 minutes, I was getting my ass handed to
Yeah.
me, and I was like, oh my god, this is hard. And then I like figured it out.
Especially with like the actual like you said, the combat, like trying to like time that where it's like, okay, how do I get right up to this person and then hit them?
Yeah.
You know, that was the hardest for me. So I was always dying too.
You know what I'm loving right now, and I don't know if they took this as like a Breath of the Wild node, but when you get these like glass or ice or something weapons.
So that was in Crypto Necrodancer.
It was okay, all right, because you can use them, and then they have that level, and then they break. You know, like
when you get hit, anything glass, when you get hit, it breaks.
Yeah.
That's the whole.
And Crypto Necrodancer is the same thing.
Okay, all right, I did because I never played Crypto Necrodancer. I only played this one.
So the way that works is like, okay, the glass is good because there's no durability. You can use it forever.
Yeah.
But if you get hit,
it's gone.
It's gone.
Breaks.
You know.
So, but I totally
mine break all the time.
I was having a hard time,
constantly.
and honestly, I still have a hard time depending on you know if you meet a new enemy or something like that, or if
the
enemy has a
just gotta
shield,
figure
and
it
you
out.
gotta like, oh wait, I gotta.
What's your weapon of choice? What do you use for the most part?
Oh, I just use a sword. I like the broadsword.
Me
like
too.
That's
With the
like,
three, because you
three.
can not be face to face with one and still hit it. And
That's
stuff
my
like
that's the best.
That's my weapon.
But even then, if I don't time it right,
yeah,
or if I'm not facing the right angle, I gotta go back, and I just turn the wrong way, and then I get hit.
It's tough because I do like the spears for the bosses because usually they have like that surrounding thing where you could stand 2 tiles out and still hit them face on. But that broadsword's like my main.
Yeah, broadsword's awesome.
And I like.
Dude, rapiers are where it's at, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have one.
I don't think I've come across one either.
Yeah, I don't think I've come across one.
It has a spear style thing where you can hit from 2 tiles.
Yeah.
And it does 2 damage if you hit from 2 tiles. But if you're 1 tile away, it hits like a normal sword.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
So you can like lunge and hit from 2 tiles.
I just got one of the maces where it does like
the flails.
like a L
those
attack.
do an L shape. Yeah,
it's like the horse and chess.
Yeah.
But then again, bows and arrows, you know.
You know
that shit.
And you have familiarize yourself with the regular weapons that you get in a Zelda game. You know, like you're absolutely 100% right when you say love letter to the Zelda franchise. It is incredible.
I just love like you're fighting enemies, you're beating a screen, you're going to the next one, more enemies, and then you come across like a town or something.
Yeah.
And you're like,
nice
look
little.
at how cool this is.
Zelda.
Nice break. You hang out, talk to people. A lot of cool secrets in this game. They made
It really was like well made. Like
Yeah.
incredibly
What
made.
a fucking soundtrack. Holy
Yes.
shit, man. The
So
way
good.
they remix these songs, like it's Danny B. He's like notorious in video games as like one of the best. And he did Crypto the Necrodancer, and of course he did this. And
It's awesome.
Yeah, I
even
love
that title screen, that little remix.
Oh man.
No, when you first started playing it, it was like the song that plays when you're exploring in the ocean in Wind Waker or something like that. It was like one of the areas, and then like I just entered the desert area, and it's just got like a much more like metal hardcore stuff going on. I'm like,
So good. Seriously, I'm
which
loving
makes sense because there's like a billion more enemies per screen.
Yeah, this game is really good.
good.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm super happy with the way it came out because I was like, man, this is such a cool idea. I'm gonna love this game, and then I played it. I'm like, it's just so
a
much
Zelda game.
better than I
So
thought
good.
it was gonna be.
I'm about halfway. What about you? How far are you? I'm about halfway.
Did you
through.
take down any bosses yet?
I haven't taken any bosses yet though.
You're just
No,
roaming
you're just
around
doing a lot of
all
I
over
know
the
that
nation?
I know where a boss is.
Yeah,
I just haven't.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, that was Cadence of
I'm
Hyrule.
scared.
I think this is a good natural stopping point before we get into the E3 stuff. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. We're going to take a real break. that was Dan's noise. And we are back. Time to talk about E3.
Whoop whoop.
Oh yeah.
Game of Christmas. That's
The game of Christmas, baby. So Google kind of had a Stadia thing pre E3, but we're gonna include it in this because it was kind of their E3 kind of thing.
Yeah.
They called it a Stadia Connect, which is apparently their take on the Direct.
Yeah.
It's close enough.
Rhyming.
So right off the bat, they were talking about Stadia Pro, $9.99 a month, launching this November, and it allows you to stream at 4K 60 frames per second.
Nice.
The only way to get into Stadia Pro is with the Founders Pack, which is what they're selling for this year. Founders Pack comes with a controller, 3 months of Stadia Pro, a Chromecast, which is the only way to do Stadia at launch, and a 3-month buddy pass. So they said, you get a 3-month pass you can send to any of your friends, and they get to play as well, right? The weird part about this little presentation that they had was the way they kind of said they were kind of pitching part of it as like, you really want to be one of the first ones in there so you can get your gamer tag, the name you want. And I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, don't do that. This is the worst kind of capitalism. But they really, it was fucking strange. But the real point here is the only way to play Stadia this year is to pay $130 and get this package. What they're saying is in the future, in 2020 at some point, they're going to get it running in Chrome browsers, like they said, a lot of different stuff they talked about. They did go through a list of games that are coming to Stadia. It's a lot of stuff you'd expect. Most big AAA games coming to Stadia. Ubisoft, loves new platforms. They're going to be there day one on Stadia with The Division and whatever else. They said Destiny and its new upcoming expansion going to be on there. They also did say... So the Stadia Pro, the $9.99 a month, it's not only, it's kind of like a mini Game Pass sort of thing. So I don't know how many games they're going to have. They weren't really clear about it, but they said like, Pro users have access to Destiny 2 and all of its expansions, right at launch or whatever. So I know that it includes certain games. I don't know how expansive that's going to be, because could be 5 games, could be 100 games like Game Pass. I don't know what the hell it's going to be. So I can't really give you a full value proposition on that. But they showed a bunch of games, a bunch of third-party AAAs, and then they did announce a couple of first-party, or not necessarily first-party, but exclusives. Nothing too exciting. The game by Tequila Works, who made Rhyme. They're doing like a new horror game.
Did you end up playing Rhyme? I remember you had it, right? Or?
Yeah, I played a little bit. It didn't grab me.
Okay.
It was kind of like I don't know. I don't want to get into that too much, but So basically, they showed that game. They showed another like 4-player co-op game that looked kind of like a hectic, like I think it was like you were movers, like you had to like move stuff out of a moving truck into a house, but it was like shit was blowing up and like you're all working together to try to do it. Like it's almost like an Overcooked kind of thing. It looked like neat, but it wasn't like they came out and showed a crazy AAA game that is going to be on Stadia. What they did show, and this is the first time we got to see, was Baldur's Gate 3.
Now I remember this was an interesting one because before they did it, we're showing 3 and stuff like that, and everybody thought it was going to be Divinity Original Sin 3, right?
So the weird part about that is they said, so I'll start out saying this is Larian that's doing this. Those are the guys that made Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2.
Dan, you love that game.
I really love that game. And I didn't mention it because I'll talk about it next episode, but I've been playing Divinity Original Sin 2, getting back into it, and I dumped 10 hours into it.
Nice.
Love that game. So Larian's doing it. And what happened was they put out a page, Larian Studios, like everyone knew it was Larian, and it had 3, like a slash, almost like a Roman numeral looking 3. And people looked at it right away and said, kind of looks like it could be Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
Someone data mined it, and the image that they made was literally called Baldur's Gate 3 announcement image or something like that. So it was like the easiest thing for people to figure out. Like, well, this one's ruined. But they showed a cinematic trailer, Mind Flayer. People that don't know Baldur's Gate, it's based off D&D, so it's all fantasy shit that you know. I love Baldur's Gate 1 and 2.
Oh, man, so you must be pumped.
Love Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. And I cannot believe that the literal dream studio that you could imagine making this game, Larian, who made the only 2 games that would ever stand up to like that, or the Divinity Original Sin games.
So it's like a dream.
It's like a dream thing. So I am like
Dream
incredibly dream made in heaven. That's right. Whatever.
I don't know what that means. It just sounds.
Never
beautiful.
heard that one. I think you mean a match made in heaven.
No, I don't know. It just
Dream made in Larian?
It sounds beautiful.
But yeah, so I'm super
Cool, man.
excited about it. And really, that's kind of it for Google. They didn't.
This was a weird E3. Just prefacing that, I feel.
Definitely. But there were a ton of really good games this E3 shown, and we'll get into that stuff. But I just wanted to talk briefly about Google before we got too far into the rest of it.
Google.
So next up, we're going kind of chronologically here. EA Play, I think it's called. They have basically, they kind of like took a whole day and we're like, hey, instead of doing a press conference, we're just going to talk for 30 minutes about each one of our games that we want to talk about, which is interesting. I not exactly your typical press conference. But they started with 30 minutes on Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, what do you guys think?
Before we say anything, it's called Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, not Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. It's fucking weird.
That is weird.
So this is part of the Jedi or the Star Wars Jedi series, I guess. Not the Star Wars. It's so weird.
I don't know.
So what they did was they talked a bit about like what to expect. Then they showed 15 minutes of like someone playing the game, which is really cool. This game comes out this November, so I'm glad. We'll see as we go on. There's a trend of not showing gameplay at E3, even for games out this year.
Just trailers and stuff.
So I was actually pretty happy right off the bat to
They
see
had
some
some
gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
And you kind of get a timeline thing, too, since we saw a familiar face from the
yes.
movies.
So Saw Gerrera, probably the best character from Rogue One, in my opinion, is
a slightly younger version of him.
Yeah, it's clear that he's like, a big part of this game.
Yeah.
They got Forrest Whitaker. He's playing that character.
So you're talking between episode 3 and 4.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's before Rogue One.
Yeah, Rogue One led up to episode 4.
Yes.
So between episodes 3 and 4 is your timeline here, but who knows how? Maybe he's just the only real character you see from the films. Who knows?
Right.
It's just completely different.
So speaking of the actual gameplay, we saw some like Uncharted style climbing. It looked like showed
running.
off some wall running, which is the Respawn special.
Yeah.
And then we saw some of the force powers and the gameplay with the lightsaber, right? So force powers we saw him like freeze time on the mechanism so that he could get through. That's like video games love doing
like
that.
a push and a pull maneuver, so it holds for a second or two.
Right.
And I thought the most interesting use of that was when he froze a blaster shot
and then pulled someone
and pulled the guy
in
in front of it.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn cool.
Yeah. So and then we saw some of the lightsaber combat. It's Sekiro.
Yeah, it's got some Sekiro.
It's fucking Sekiro.
I'm
going to
that.
tell you. I'm going to tell you something before we get into what we actually saw. So, some hands-on impressions. From what I've heard, A is jump, B is dodge. Up on the D-pad consumes a healing charge, of which you have a set amount until you rest at these nodes.
Well, we know where.
We
know where the inspiration came from.
Just think about that for a second. There are places that you rest that respawn all the enemies in the area.
I mean, you got to think that they didn't steal it from Sekiro. They stole it from a FromSoft.
Well, the reason it's Sekiro is because you saw the skinny little bar underneath an enemy's health bar.
Yeah.
And that's their stamina meter or posture meter.
Okay.
Where you can literally get it down and then one-hit kill the stormtroopers.
That's Sekiro.
That's Sekiro. But here's the thing. Sekiro is fucking awesome.
Yeah, Sekiro's amazing. And also, you got to assume that was kind of in place prior to this year.
Yes,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Of course. But what I'm saying is,
exciting.
It's exciting. Yeah.
A Star Wars Sekiro, I'm totally in.
I am happy too to go in and look. First enemies he goes across, stormtroopers. Guess what? You're one hit killing them if you can get
Yes.
them. Right?
Yes.
Good, because you have a lightsaber. That's what it should do.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, like that's a good thing. And then you meet that boss, and I really like that he went to go pull him, and the guy just shoves a spear in the ground to stop the pull, stop the push. Like smarter enemies, which is like another good thing. But
also, they didn't show it too much, but so there's a block button with the lightsaber where you can hold it down, and we saw some of the blaster shots he was deflecting.
Yeah.
If you time it correctly, you parry it back.
Nice.
Right at them.
Yeah. Same thing with other people attacking you with melee.
Yeah.
You can do a perfect parry, knock them off balance, and then hit them. Again, sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I've played this game.
Yeah. But, so that's kind of what they showed.
That was your
not-
big thing, yeah.
Not
That was
too much about it.
You have a little droid friend. I think his name is BD. Yeah, BD.
Yeah.
And the reason I know that is because in Titanfall 2, your big robot buddy was called BT. And I was like, that's really similar. But he looks cute.
Chills on your back.
Seems like there's the thing I liked from what we saw was it seems like they have that style down. Like the way the music goes in, the cutscenes, the kind of how it's like goes between goofy and serious.
Mm-hmm.
That's like Star Wars, right? That's what it's
It
about.
is, and like you said, I think it does it very similar to like an Uncharted game, just like
Right.
that same sort of like.
Exactly. So
flow.
I'm incredibly excited for this. When we saw it here at EA, I was like, okay, looks cool, but this wasn't really the best demo. Seeing other trailers and hearing people that have played it, it makes me even way more excited.
All right.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool. Does it
So,
release-
I mean, this is a lot more than we've been given. Like how secretive they've been about this
Right,
game
yeah.
for
exactly.
a while now. So
is
yeah.
there a release date?
There
I know
is,
fall
yes. It's
sometime, right?
November
November.
10th, I think. I'm going to double
a
check.
lot
that.
of 2020 release dates at this EA. I
Yeah.
mean, we're halfway through
Right,
2019,
I
so it makes
anticipated.
sense. But it's
November
good to see.
15th this year.
Of this year. Yeah.
Good day.
Yeah.
Right after your
my
birthday, yeah.
Um,
Man, and geez, Death Stranding comes out the week before. Holy.
oh
moly.
yeah, we'll
Yeah,
talk.
that was a tough one.
There's
Yeah.
so many games this fall. So many games.
Right in
I
time.
guess
Alright.
I'm just quitting my life.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. That was the Star Wars portion of EA.
Mm-hmm.
I should have prefaced this entire thing by saying we are not going step by step by step. I kind of went through,
Yeah.
peeled out everything I'm specifically interested in. So if there's anything else that anyone says, oh, what about this, then go ahead and bring it up. But just for you guys listening, don't think we skipped anything by accident. We specifically, there's only 2 things on this EA list.
We're
and
cherry
it's-
picking because this is our show and we're allowed to.
That's right. Damn it. So
I'm super freaking excited for
yeah,
that game.
Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, I am very excited for. I could totally go for a Star Wars Souls. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
The next 30 minutes were about Apex Legends. They announced a new legend, Watson. She's like
An astronaut, kind of.
So it's interesting because they're trying to get into the lore of this world, and what she actually is her father was the engineer. He built the island that you're playing on. So she grew up inside of it, like learning all the intricacies. So she's like an engineer. I think she's actually an engineer.
Yeah.
And the thing that looks cool is she puts up electrical fences that when someone passes through, I think they take damage and get slowed.
Okay.
So she's a very defensive character. And then her ultimate is you put down this thing, and it's an artillery kind of thing. So like grenades, Gibraltar's ultimate, which rains down fire, Bangalore's ultimate, it shoots them out of the air, the missiles, before they hit the ground.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
So looks really, really neat. Awesome character design. I think she looks really cool. I'm just super excited. I love Apex. I still play it all the time. So
Yeah.
a new character that sounds totally up my alley. A nice defensive-minded character. Super exciting for me. They talked a lot of details about the Season 2 Battle Pass too and stuff like that. But we don't have to get into the nitty-gritty. Important part is it looks like they're putting some more stuff into the Battle Pass, which was my main complaint. So yeah, that's the important stuff from EA, in my opinion. Like I said, we're not going through every little thing here, but we're gonna move right along to Microsoft, who before Nintendo came out with their Direct, I thought Microsoft had the best showing at E3, but Nintendo came along and
this was kind of expected though, right? With the absence of Sony,
yes,
Microsoft,
exactly.
it was their time to shine.
Open door for them to come in and shine. So they open up on Outer Worlds, not Outer Wilds.
Yeah, not a bad start.
Dan, you love Outer
Worlds.
World.
Wilds.
So I'm really interested in Outer Worlds, but I mean it's no Outer Wilds.
We'll just have to see.
But now, kind of what I have here is it's a game from Obsidian. We've seen it before. It's a very much in the vein of a first-person Fallout game, Fallout 3, New Vegas, Fallout 4. Clear lineage there. Obsidian literally made Fallout New Vegas.
Yep.
They know what they're doing. It really looks like Fallout in space, right? To the point of they show in the trailer you like talking to an NPC and you like get near them and then the camera zooms on their face, kind of like Skyrim or Fallout.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you're like, oh, okay, I know what this is.
I've been here before.
But they kind of showed in this trailer, they just kind of went through and showed some like crazy guns, some weird enemies. Like they just kind of did like a sizzle reel of interesting stuff in this world. I'm totally down for another good like Fallout style game.
Something that you could sink your teeth in.
Yeah.
Too.
See, I've never played a Fallout game, but the sci-fi setting seems like a place that I would start.
Yeah.
And it has no ties to the Fallout series.
Exactly.
Style,
so it's a good jumping on point, obviously.
So I don't have to do my usual start from the goddamn beginning.
Yeah, go all the way.
Play Fallout 1 on your laptop. Yeah, so that's how they kicked off the show. That game will launch on Game Pass, which is awesome. So Microsoft actually purchased Obsidian last year. They announced it. But this game is not published by them because of, like, it was already in the works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they were still able to get it on Game Pass, which I think is really cool. So that game... launching on Game Pass. It comes out October 25th this year. Another one, check mark this fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is just prior, October 25th. And then
yep.
Right before
then I'm just
taking
a month off from work,
from
school, from friends, from family, from
go
eating.
See the optometrist.
breathing.
Let them know that your eyes are about to bleed out for the next month. So.
Yes.
Speaking of bleeding, next game that they showed was Bleeding Edge.
Look at that fucking segue.
That was beautiful.
Which is Ninja Theory's new game.
I love Ninja Theory.
Ninja Theory.
But it doesn't look nice.
Here's the thing. Ninja Theory makes really cool single-player action games.
Yeah, it's a competitive game.
This is a 4v4 competitive melee combat game. Didn't look great. Here's the thing. I like competitive games like this. I like Overwatch. I like Rainbow Six Siege. For Honor is not a good game in my opinion, but people like it. So there's a market for this.
The game's worse, but some people are jerks and they like it. So
that is not what I'm saying.
I love Ninja Theory as well. I don't understand how they went from Hellblade to this.
Yeah,
talk about segues. That's interesting.
Not being tonally different.
Yeah, like it's a polar opposite. And I don't know. I did hear stuff that once Ninja Theory, because they're bought out by Microsoft now, right?
Yeah, they're owned by Microsoft.
So they're owned by Microsoft now. Maybe they split their time. Maybe their people are working on another something similar to like a Hellblade sequel.
Yeah, you could be right.
And then the other people are working on something like this because Microsoft wants to jump in on that.
Yeah. I am curious to see when this comes out how it is, because I don't want to like poo-poo it right away.
Yeah.
Just looking at it, hearing what it is, especially I don't know, the style for me. We'll talk about Borderlands at some point, but Borderlands and that style feel very dated, and they feel like a days of internet past.
relic,
You know what I mean? Like, and this has that kind of like weird, want to be edgy, but very colorful. I don't know. We'll see. I just kind of was like, okay, I guess that's the thing. Yeah. Next, they showed Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Ori and the Blind Forest still hasn't been released for anything other than Xbox, right?
So here's the thing. I need to look. I'm actually going to look this up now because that's a great question.
Because it is a game that would make
here's
sense
the thing.
on
It's
Switch.
But it's made by a studio that's owned by Microsoft. But
That's okay.
I think Microsoft is putting it on Switch.
Oh, I would love that
because Microsoft and Nintendo right now are like working together.
When that game came out, I wanted to play that so bad, and I didn't.
It's such a good game.
I didn't have the hardware, and I remember watching Dan play a little bit. I was like, man,
Dan, I'm gonna laugh so much if this game's out already on Switch.
I'm gonna cry.
That would be pretty funny. So, but I mean, the game's incredible.
All right. So here's what happened. So it's not. It's basically a very, very heavily rumored thing because Microsoft put Cuphead on Switch.
Okay.
And we'll talk about it later, but a character that's owned by Microsoft is in Super Smash now.
Right.
They're working together, and everyone is like, it's got to be Ori, because they said there will be more Xbox games on the Switch. So I think
it
Ori
would be
and
a great
Blind
thing
Forest
to
might be on
release
That'd
right
be
before Will of the
fantastic,
Wisps comes out, Like,
that's
I would love that so much, because I remember when that came out, I wanted to play it so bad, and they said back then that they might release it on other platforms, and they just never did. That's 4 years ago. That game came out in 2015.
Yeah,
right?
so it's on PC and Xbox, and that game is just such an excellent, it's such a good playing Metroidvania. But it's just also the most gorgeous and best music. Like it is like such a great package. And this game, from what they've shown, looks like it's even more beautiful somehow. They dated it February 11th, 2020. Obviously launching on Game Pass because they're a Microsoft studio.
Dope.
So yeah, that's kind of the theme of the show is. Hey, guess what? A lot of stuff's coming to Game Pass, which is still the best deal.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So Ori and the Will of the Wisps, very excited for that. Love that first one. If this is more of the same, I'm totally in.
Cool.
Yeah. Next I have here Blair Witch game. So the thing that was weird about this game was they were showing it, and it was like, okay, like this looks like an interesting horror game, like whatever, blah blah blah. Camera stuff, going on. You're like, okay, see their inspirations. And then there's a guy in a corner in the trailer staring at the corner. And I'm like, what? They can't steal that. That's like an iconic thing. I'm like, these people are really fucking brazen. And then it cuts to like the cornfield with the symbol of the Blair Witch. And I was like, holy shit, it's actually Blair Witch.
Is it just the story from the first movie?
So I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know much detail on it.
They didn't show gameplay.
They did? In that trailer, it was like a mix of certain cinematics and actual gameplay. It's first person horror game. It's coming out August 30th this year.
What are you looking at it over in there in the corner? Come on. What are you doing over there?
But yeah, this one's also launching on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Game Pass.
I'm excited to check this out because Blair Witch, again, something that's like dated now, and if you watch it now, it might not be scary. When that came out, it was the most terrifying thing
It's
I've
so
ever
funny
seen.
when that came out 98 or whatever. I remember I never was allowed to watch it, but I just remember like the paranoia. Like people actually thought it was
real.
That actually was like
they thought it was actual like found footage.
I remember there was like documentaries.
Yeah, I thought that
like on TV. Stuff on TV. Like people were like, oh yeah,
which was it?
Someone missing.
Was it Scary Movie that made fun of it? And there was like the girl was like in front of the camera blowing snot bubbles when she was like all scared and shit. You remember that? I think it was like Scary Movie 3 or 4 or whatever it was. It was so funny.
One of those.
Yeah. So it's a horror game. It's a first person horror game. They gave me no indication of if this game is going to be good or not. It's just, hey, that's cool. It's a Blair Witch game. It's first person. that came out of fucking nowhere, you know.
Yeah.
So we'll keep an eye on that again. August 30th, launching on Game Pass. Next game we saw was Spiritfarer. This game, you might remember it just as this beautiful side-scrolling indie game. It looks like you're building a ship.
Yeah.
Like it looks like you're putting different modular pieces on, and the implication was you're like ferrying these like animals to
the
afterlife.
Yeah. Which you would think is a dark, ominous thing, and not here.
Well, so the interesting thing was, it was like this happy, cheerful thing, and they're on the boat, they're all like celebrating and stuff, and then like you get to a point where like, and it said and saying goodbye or something it said on the screen, and then like, you know, the one of the animals like, you know, ascends or whatever, and it just, the music was great, the look of it was great. It gave me big time like Oxenfree or even Wandersong vibes, like the ship part of Wandersong. It had like that kind of like
pirates who like coffee.
Yeah, but it had that kind of like camaraderie looking thing when they were on the boat and like everyone like hanging out together. Like it just looks really charming and interesting,
Nice.
and it's something that I had not heard of. So
yeah.
Spiritfarer, that's called. Whenever that comes out, it's launching on Game Pass. So there you
That
go.
was a big note that they kept going on was, hey, guess what? This is going to be on Game Pass. And so is this.
Yeah, they just
And
kept
this third thing.
everything.
Yeah.
This one's on Game Pass.
Yeah.
This one's launching on Game Pass.
It led up to something, you know, so it's...
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So they did a good job. The next game that we saw was Way to the Woods. This looks like Journey, but you're a deer. That's what it looks like.
It was, yeah.
So you're a deer, like leading its child
with LED antlers.
Exactly, yeah. But the reason this game kind of jumped out at me was it looks like it's playing with something like nature and like there was like vending machines, there was like broken glass, you know what I mean? It's like obvious vibes of like preservationist stuff, right? Like you know, they're purposefully putting the backdrop of like a city with these animals trying to find their way to the woods, right?
It reminded me of the I Am Legend movie, you know, like when he's in the middle of Times Square and it's just overgrown grass and the deer running through.
Right.
That's the first thing I thought, and I was like, all right, so it's I Am Legend from the point of the deer. No, but it totally gives you that kind of vibe.
Smith?
And then I was trying to figure out, because it looked like he was like bashing the soda machine, trying to get soda for the younger deer.
Right.
And I'm like, is
really
that
like soda?
Yeah, is that like a point of nourishment? Like that's not good. But
maybe it's carbonated water.
Parent,
yeah,
come on.
It's a future. I don't know. Maybe it's just what is that movie? Idiocracy, where they just drink electrolytes all the time and they just try and get the plants and kill everything.
So that Way to the Woods is coming 2020 and also launching on Game Pass.
There's a pattern here.
Another indie game here
This is just
shown called 12 Minutes.
Oh, this game looks so cool.
So it's about a 12-minute time loop of of basically. So here's the interesting thing. It's impossible to spoil something that I have not touched.
Yeah.
But I saw a gameplay demo of this game like 4 or 5 years ago where the graphics were totally different. It was totally like, you know, work in progress, big time. But the pitch then, which like I said, seeing this demo, I can say more than what the trailer showed. But the trailer basically showed different scenarios playing out based on your choices, right? Like that was the gist of it. It's like the story of a man caught in a time loop, 12 minutes. So what I know of it is you're the guy, you come home from work, and you just kind of like have a night, like first playthrough, right? You sit down, you're having dinner, you're talking to your wife, you know, whatever, hints that like something's going on with the marriage or whatever, you know. Then there's a knock on the door, it's the cops. You're like, whoa, what's going on? And then they're like, get out of the way, like we need to see your wife, you know, blah, blah, whatever. You're like, you know, and there are like dialogue choices, like you're figuring out what's going on. and then he ends up coming in, and your wife, like, you know, grabs a knife or something and gets shot dead by the cop. And then it snaps, and you're back, and you're walking in. But your character knows that he's in a time loop.
Mm-hmm.
So he's commenting on it, and so your second one, he comes in, and he's like, oh, my God, you're okay? Like, what's going on? You know, like, he's, like, distraught. She's like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, what do I do? And then now it's your choice.
It's like Groundhog Day.
What are you going to do to figure this out? So you could, like, there's, you know, hey, let's hide you in the shower. I'll talk to the cop. The cop ends up, like, throwing you in cuffs, putting you on the ground, searching the house, finds her, cuffs her, takes her away. Different outcome. Snap. Time to do another one. All right, we're going to try to get you through the window or blah, 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 whatever. Like, so that's the game. I don't know how much it's changed since then. Again, this was literally, I'm not exaggerating, 4+ years ago. And I was so excited for it then. And now seeing it with all the updated graphics and everything that they have going on, super excited.
Yeah.
So I
looks
think
cool.
the lead designer, actually, I think this is made by one guy, and he worked on The Witness with Jonathan Blow.
Nice.
And this was his side project. So pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah. Nice top-down view of, like, the apartment. And
Yes,
everything, too,
yes.
You know, like, has a cool aesthetic.
Yeah, it's really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be really cool.
I'm excited for that. They did not say anything about release dates, I don't believe.
It was pretty brief.
Yeah, it was just show a little trailer.
Yeah. Probably lasts about 12 minutes or so.
Yeah, about not even close. But yeah, that's 12 minutes, the name of the game. And then we have the big one here.
Oh.
Cyberpunk 2077 cinematic trailer showed. Still looks like an awesome world, like really, really cool stuff going on. We saw sci-fi Rick Ross, and basically looks beautiful. World's still interesting. Totally flipped on its head of like what you're expecting, because the character that's like shot in the cab with you in the cinematic trailer was like your main guy in the first trailer we saw last year.
Right.
So we didn't really see much about Cyberpunk here. We just saw that trailer, and then
It was all about the hype train.
right at the end, you see a guy with like a metal arm talking, blah, whatever. He starts putting his head down lower and lower, takes off his sunglasses. It's Keanu Reeves in Cyberpunk, and everyone's going nuts. Everyone's like, "Whoa,
It's
Keanu
incredible.
was in Cyberpunk!" Everyone's so happy, and then all of a sudden, the camera goes to the stage. This like wall coming up with like fog machine, and there's someone standing there, and everyone's like, "What is this?" And then it's fucking Keanu on stage at the Microsoft conference. And he was just so
and my
fucking
God,
awesome.
he was breathtaking.
He's just like my favorite.
Dude,
He's just the best person ever.
Nailed that. Because he came out, you see so many celebrities do this kind of shit, and they're always like robotic, like, they don't know how. And he's just being himself. He's just having fun. So he's like giggling.
Yeah.
The famous line that Shelby said before, he was like, somebody screams like, "Keanu, you're breathtaking," and he laughs and he goes, "Oh, you're breathtaking. You're all breathtaking."
It was crazy.
Yeah, it was so funny.
Oh man!
And then he says one of the best things ever. He goes, "So you guys want to know when the game? You guys want to know the release date?" And everyone's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, check this shit out." And he points up to the big screen, and it shows like another like 5-second trailer, and then it pops up 4/16/20.
Mm-hmm.
So the game coming out
next year,
April 16th next year.
Very exciting.
Sweet.
And if this fall is crowded, next spring is super fucking crowded. Every fucking game is coming out between February and April next year. It's absurd. So yeah, Cyberpunk 2077, obviously one of the biggest games that's
been anticipating this for
like
a very
ever.
long time.
Yeah. So the fact that that's coming out in less than a year is
Biggest
pretty cool.
games ever.
Yeah. Well, really though. So yeah, that was pretty much.
Good job, Microsoft.
Yeah, Keanu's going to be Johnny Silverhand. which if you know Cyberpunk,
Yeah, right on the nose there with that one.
Well, so the problem, here's the thing that's interesting, right? So Cyberpunk is working with source material from Cyberpunk 2020, you know? So, like, this is a history of books and tabletop RPGs, you know what I mean? Like, this is set. So you're talking about, like, okay, people in the 80s saying, what's Cyberpunk? So they come up with the name like Johnny Silverhand, you know what I mean? But he's like in the lore, he is like he was like a former like rock star basically, and then he became like a revolutionary, and he's like down with the corporations kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So like he's a great character, but his name's Johnny Silverhand.
They announced that in the game he has the second most dialogue of every character in the game. So
yeah, I'm very curious. I've heard some things about some hands-on, or not hands-on, but like a gameplay demo that someone played in front of people. I think that this game is going to be, when you make your character, you're choosing your idol, and Johnny Silverhand is one of your choices.
One of them. Cool.
And that person, whoever you're picking, is going to be a like
huge aspect.
Like your,
That's awesome.
Yeah. So. Yeah, looks, like I said, still looks fucking great.
Yeah.
Very excited to get my hands on it.
Did you see the memes, the Keanu memes, right? You know how they always made that thing like he never ages, and it's like old pictures, like old Victorian pictures of like things that look like him, and now they have a future picture. They're like, now it goes up to 2077.
Oh man.
Yeah, so that was Cyberpunk.
Awesome.
Again, we didn't see any gameplay.
No.
We just had another cinematic trailer.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, just the hype train. That's what it was all about.
Right, exactly. Then they jumped into announcing Game Pass Ultimate.
Yep. It's all been leading up to this.
Which is $15 a month. So an original Game Pass is $10 a month, right? Game Pass Ultimate gives you not only the Game Pass games on your Xbox, but a full library of Game Pass games on your PC. And the thing is, the one on your PC is a completely unique library of games.
Yeah.
So you're getting two full
libraries for an extra $5.
100 plus. But not only are you doing that, and I swear we're not working for Microsoft.
Yeah.
But you are getting those two libraries and Xbox Live Gold.
Yeah.
For $15 a month.
That's crazy.
So like if you're paying for regular Game Pass for $10 a month, and then you're paying for Xbox Live, you're paying $14 a month. So for $1 extra, you're getting the Xbox Game Pass library on your PC. That's
incredible.
I can't emphasize enough how fucking awesome this is, because look at all these games that are coming to Game Pass. Look at what's come out. Outer Wilds is on Game Pass. Void Bastards are on Game Pass. Gears 5 when it comes out later. Halo Infinite, like all their first party stuff is on Game Pass.
Incredible.
And they're getting all these other games launching on Game Pass.
That's incredible.
Even last year, like as soon as they came out, you had Mutant Year Zero, Ashen, Below.
Yeah,
those games.
All those games that were in our Game of the Year talk last year, like
were released.
Are still on there, I believe.
Yeah.
Like
it's incredible, man. I fucking love Game Pass.
Incredible.
So I think Game Pass Ultimate is a really smart idea for them. And I think it's a really fair value proposition. So I'm super excited. I already am on it. So
I know Ralph said it right away too. He's like, "Oh, you guys got to get on the Game Pass."
They have a special deal where like your first month is $1.
Yeah,
if you want it. So
which is I think what they did for the regular Game Pass anyway, right? It was like $1 for the first month.
Right. Yeah. So that was Game Pass Ultimate. That was kind of like the big emphasis of the show.
Yeah.
Next we have Psychonauts 2 trailer showed, dated 2020, and then they announced that Microsoft purchased Double Fine, which I think is really, really cool. It's a really good addition for Microsoft and a really smart move for a company like Double Fine, who recently was having issues with publishing. So I assume that this means that Psychonauts 2 is now being published by Microsoft because they were being published by a studio that went under.
Okay.
And so they were having some issues with publishing, and it kind of works out that Microsoft was looking for more studios to add
That
to
they could
their
help.
yeah. So yeah, their first party studios just keep getting bigger and bigger, man, and it's exciting.
Yeah.
Because they're prepping for the next generation.
Next generation is gonna be really
Yeah.
interesting. It's
Super perfect.
Yeah,
And
they're gonna
and
smoke
Psychonauts too,
Sony.
like as if that game could encompass a fraction of what the first one did, like I'm in. Like I love the first Psychonauts.
It's
and they
so-
showed
Yeah.
it was a mix of trailer and gameplay again, like we were
Yes.
talking before, and it was like it's that awesome platform.
Yeah.
Like
and zany characters.
yeah,
and
completely
all that,
crazy
yeah.
characters. Tim Schafer's world, like I'm in.
Yes. And that's why the thing about Psychonauts is it's never been for everyone.
Yeah.
But if it's for you, Psychonauts 2 is for you
Yeah,
as
for
well.
sure.
So
Did
I really enjoyed that first one. I think I'm going to really enjoy the second one.
Did they say this was going to Game Pass when it came out?
They did not, but
Might.
I would bet it will. They're now owned by Microsoft. So next we have Gears 5. Weird. This is what I wrote. Weird trailer. Not a fan. Dated 9/10/19.
Yeah, that wraps that up.
What the fuck was that trailer? This game is coming out in 3 months,
Yeah.
and you're not showing gameplay at all.
No.
Like, what is going on?
It's
This
crazy.
is the theme of the show, man. It is very strange, but it really just was like. It was like the main character with like different heads, just coming in. It was totally bizarre. Billie Eilish song, just totally weird. I'm like, this sucks. So
But people.
It's like they took one of their most celebrated IPs and just threw it on the back burner because they had so much other stuff going on.
Well, I think the argument here is if you like Gears, they basically said, hey, we're doing an event that's Gears centric in within the next month or whatever. If you're a Gears fan, come watch that. We're going to show more. This is what we're showing for the masses.
Yeah.
Showing this trailer, whatever. Here's when the game comes out. They showed fucking Terminator DLC.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, like right away. I mean, again, here's the thing with Gears 5. If you like the Gears games, you're going to play it. It's probably not a jumping on point for most people, So like I guess you don't have to go crazy with the 5th installment in a series,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little weird, no fanfare or anything.
Yeah.
They did kind of show a different mode that was like a three player like co-op kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. We don't need to dive too much into that. Gears 5 is for the audience that it's for, and
so
if you're one of them,
I hope you enjoy it.
Like we said, Gears 5, weird trailer, not a fan.
I hope you enjoy.
9/10/19.
Yeah, perfect.
But I think we should talk about something that we are excited for.
Yes, Elden Ring.
Ooh.
So, leading up to this, there was a big leak from Namco Bandai, and Namco is the publisher of Elden Ring, along with Tales of Arise and a couple others. So there was a big leak, and Elden Ring came out of that leak. It said George R.R. Martin working with From Software, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So we saw kind of like a move piece trailer. Obviously, the game's probably not close to being out, but this is what it is Miyazaki, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm saying this is what he's been, because he didn't work on Sekiro.
He didn't?
Like, he worked on it. He wasn't the director. He's directing this game.
He's directing.
And the last one he directed was Bloodborne.
Okay, gotcha.
Dark Souls 3.
Oh, I didn't know he didn't work on Sekiro.
He didn't work on Dark Souls 2.
I know he
didn't
I know
work
he
on
did
Dark Souls 3.
Okay.
So worked on is a weird thing, right? Because
he was there.
I'm sure he was
present.
doing.
Yeah.
I'm sure
The
he was
head guy
doing this
from
stuff.
Software.
But he has made it like his mission to like groom, like get these really talented people below him to be like, this is your game. He did that for Dark Souls 2.
Mm-hmm.
He did that for Sekiro.
Gotcha.
Similar type of thing.
Gotcha.
Where it's like, hey, these guys get From Software. They know what they're doing. He's like, you guys can make this game, and I'll focus on. So
this is like him.
This is him.
His actual.
Yes. So this is him, and he gave this whole thing not in this press conference, but outside. I saw an interview with him where he was talking about why he wanted to work with George R.R. Martin, and he mentioned like books that I don't even know. I don't know shit about George R.R. Martin except for Game of Thrones. You know what I mean? So he's like, oh, this series, which is like a vampire series, he's like, is like my favorite thing. He's like, I had everyone in the office read it.
Wow.
Like, you know, it's like he's like pulling out deep cuts in George R.R. Martin.
They said that they didn't think he was gonna. They were like, we didn't think George R.R. Martin would really come on board.
Well, yeah, initially what happened is he was able to get a meeting.
Yeah.
And he was just like talking to him, and he was like, I really loved meeting with him, that we like offered, and we were like, hey, would you be interested? We really want you to do this. And they had no idea that he would say yes.
Yeah.
And little did he know that George R.R. Martin will do anything to not write the books. So he was like, yeah, I'm in. So basically what he did was he wrote like the story Bible, basically. Because, again, obviously not clear in a cinematic trailer, but
it was a very
he wrote the
From Software trailer.
Well, I want to talk about the trailer really though, because it was interesting. But he basically wrote what the world is. He wrote like, you know, he did the story Bible basically, and then he's like, here's this world. Now
make
take it from there and
create an immersive,
which is really fucking cool. That's a really cool idea, because then you're not beholden to somebody who may have their own, you know what I mean? Like they're still able to make it it's like an adaptation almost. You know what I mean? Like
for sure.
So that's exciting for me. The trailer itself, I mean, really fucking creepy with the arm inside an arm kind of thing. With all the bodies huddled up and someone has like their arm stuck inside of a severed arm.
It's like offering Sekiro's his
prosthetic
arm.
They showed some interesting, like, really big characters, and the thing that I've read about this game is it's a return to a more Souls type of, not gameplay necessarily, but more of an RPG. You're leveling up stats, you're wearing different armor, different weapons.
Damn, once I get used to another method, now I'm going back to the old method. Jeez.
I am very curious what the gameplay is going to be like in this, but you know, that, like, I wrote it here, but it's like I watched that trailer and was like, that could have said Dark Souls 4 after that, and I would have believed it. Like, it was a very Souls-like,
it definitely was
vibe, you know.
But there's no date, there's no
nothing.
Probably won't be for a while.
They just wanted to announce they're working with George R.R. Martin, and that the name of the game is Elden Ring.
And that's exciting enough for me.
Yeah. Yes.
So it was just a huge open world to explore, you know. So
the rumors are it's a actual open world, like Shelby's alluding to, where it's not sectioned off. It's like focus on open spaces. Like there's a rumor that you ride a horse.
Wow.
Like it's an open game rather than a, you know, because most of them are
well, there's a
here's this area, then this area.
So I think that could be really interesting.
I don't know. From Software can do no wrong, so we'll see what happens.
Whatever they do, it's been good, right? So they haven't made a bad game in a long time.
Yeah, seriously.
All right, so that's Elden Ring. Next, they started talking about Project Scarlet, which is what they're calling their next generation. They're not announcing the actual name, but they're calling it Scarlet.
Watch comes out, it's called like the Xbox Johansson.
They said their focus is on eliminating load times.
Shelby, that got me.
Which Sony also had talked about.
Yeah, had talked about with the PS5.
8K resolution capability and 120 frames per second, whatever the hell that means.
So what they're trying to do is just make this like, I mean,
the best thing ever.
The problem
with that is that you're gonna get people sick at 120 frames per second. You know, like.
But really though, the problem is they are at a point where they need to say things like that. They feel the need to say things like
to
that.
Get people on.
Yeah.
But really what they should be saying is every game's at 60 that wants to be at 60 and it's solid.
Yeah.
Every single game.
60 works.
But you know what I'm saying? Like right now it's like we don't have every game at 60.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to do with the hardware that they have. You know, so it's like, hey, let's get everything at 60 and 4K and then we can talk. You know what I mean? So I don't know. They said it's out holiday 2020. And yeah, that's, I mean, they had a lot of like software engineers and hardware engineers talking about all the capabilities of this thing. They had a very like slick Microsoft, like slow camera pan across like close up silicon parts that are inside this box, and then people talking. It is what I expected. Haven't talked in much detail. They just wanted to say, hey, here's the story. It has come out that they were a little cagey on it, but the idea is all your Xbox One accessories are forward compatible with Scarlet.
Okay.
So all your controllers.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which is important because they made the adaptive controller, which is the big two drum pad looking things for people with disabilities. So that's important. You need to have
super important.
If you don't have that coming forward, then you need to make a new one for Scarlet. So I think they're just kind of like, hey, everything's coming forward. Your Pro controller that is like $150 that you're obsessed with, that can come forward.
And there's another iteration of that coming out too. Didn't they talk about
They did, yeah. They talked about like a new updated version of it.
Yeah.
It's very similar. It's just, the tech nerds.
It's like the toggles on the back and stuff, right?
Yeah, but they had that.
Yeah, they had that in the previous one.
Right.
The current one.
So, like, I'm sure more tech-minded people will be able to look at it and say, okay, here's why it's much better or whatever. Yeah. But for me, it's like, okay, it's an update to the controller that we already know. So, yeah, that's coming out 2020. We'll hear more about it probably early next year would be my guess.
Yeah.
They'll show it a lot at E3, and it'll come out holiday. Last
celebrate.
Last thing of the show was a okay-looking Halo Infinite story cinematic trailer that basically it started out with just like a guy on a ship, and it was him like chronicling how he's been there and he misses his daughter or whatever.
Look good.
Yeah, because it's launching with Scarlet.
Yeah.
So
well, they did say it was going to be on Xbox One as well, right? Kind of like a both.
I don't know if they said that.
No, I can't.
But
I thought that's what they were saying.
Here's the important distinction. I didn't mention when they were talking about Scarlet before, all back compatible.
Yeah.
So you might be right in a sense of who the hell cares? You know what I mean? Like, because they're like, hey,
play on.
Like maybe it's just one disc and you can play it on either.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know how that's working.
Yeah.
But yeah, they did the everyone loved that when the guy wiped the glass and there was Master Chief. It was like
chilling out there like Leia.
Again, it's the same thing with like Gears. It has that fan base,
Yeah.
And
Well, the interesting thing about Halo is how obsessed I used to be with Halo, and how much I've fallen off with since 4 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not. We'll see what this is. I think calling something Halo Infinite implies that it is different.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this.
I was just about to say, is this Halo 6 or is this Halo?
So it is Halo
else?
6, but because they're not calling it Halo 6, means that maybe it's time for a shakeup with Halo.
Well,
does that mean it's going to be a Destiny-like thing? Maybe. Infinite. What is Infinite implying?
Implies you never have to buy another Halo. You have this one for the rest of forever.
Yeah. So I'm very curious to see what the rest of forever.
This is the one.
Here's one thing I thought I really liked the trailer. I don't like Master Chief's voice. I think he's so robotic. It was so weird when
he feels so dated.
So
Doesn't
dated.
That feel dated?
It's like, and I get it. I guess you can't really change the character's voice, but at least make him sound like he's actually there.
Well, this is the problem with.
Because the guy was so the guy did a great job. The other guy, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
And he's just oh my God, we can do this. I need your suit. Let's get it going, And he's just like, tell me what we're doing. And I'm like,
time to go to work.
Yeah. And I'm like, come on. Like, what is this taken right out of the first Halo?
That's awesome.
But this is exactly what I'm talking about, where shit is just starting to feel dated. Like, we're moving forward with so many things in this space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That some things are getting left behind, man.
Right.
And it feels weird hearing that voice coming from, like, it didn't feel weird back then because there was nothing like it before. You know what I mean? Like, it was at the forefront of storytelling. You know what I'm saying? Now it's like
it wasn't. It was the only part of that trailer that I thought it was just bad.
Right.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah. So that's how the Microsoft show ended.
A lot to say.
I thought they did a really good job. I thought they focused on they did a good job of turning the focus to some smaller things, focusing on buying Double Fine, talking about Game Pass. I think they honestly did a really fantastic job. So let's move right into Bethesda.
If you say so.
Bethesda is like a show for me, big time. Like, all these games is yes. I love this. The first one that I have on the list is Ghostwire Tokyo, which first time ever hearing about it. It's a new game from Tango, which are the guys that made Evil Within 1 and 2, which the studio head is Shinji Mikami, which created Resident Evil. Mm-hmm. So that's the lineage of Evil Within, because that's the lineage of Tango Gameworks. You know what I'm saying? So Mikami came out on stage, talked about Ghostwire Tokyo. He said, this is our new project. He called it, I wrote it down here, but he said, this is a third-person action game with horror elements. This is not a survival horror game, which is interesting because Mikami made Resident Evil 4, like early Resident Evils, Resident Evil 4, and went right to Evil Within 1 and 2. All survival horror games. So I'm interested to see what he means by that. Yeah. But he is not the director on this game. He's taking more of a backseat approach. He's trying to do like a Miyazaki thing of, here's somebody that has a really good vision. And she actually came out on stage. I have to find her name because I should have looked this up before. But she was awesome on stage, really funny, like, good personality. She was like doing little poses. Like, she was really like awesome.
The trailer was, and they only showed the cinematic trailer for this one. And it looks super interesting. It kind of reminded me of, what's that show, The 100 or whatever, right away, because people are like kind of just disappearing, and like the clothes just getting left behind, and then all of a sudden you have like the samurai face with the horns and everything come out, and I was like, this is cool.
Yeah, it was like,
what's going on?
Exactly. Yeah, but that's a good thing, right?
Yeah,
it should get you excited, and then leave you thinking, okay, what does this actually mean?
Yeah.
Right.
You see what is probably your protagonist with the bow on his back and stuff. So her name is Ikumi Nakamura. The cool thing about her is she was the art lead on Okami.
Oh, wow.
Bayonetta and The Evil Within.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And
those are quite some credits to have.
And she is like Mikami's like protege, and now she's the director of Ghostwire Tokyo. So
let's see what happens.
Really,
honestly,
really
that's
cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it definitely leaves a lot to desire as far as like wanting to know more about it.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
But it seems like again, I said a dream made in heaven. Seems like a dream made in heaven.
Yeah. A dream, that classic saying.
Whatever. The classic saying.
You know what I always say? Dream made in heaven. All right. Next, we got Wolfenstein Youngblood. We've been excited for this.
I can't wait for that game to come out.
Wolfenstein 2 New Colossus was like incredible. Love that game.
Pure like story wise. So if they're taking that,
and it really does seem like they are.
It's also got that 1980s Miami Vice aesthetic. So like
it looks so fucking cool. And it's a co-op game with BJ's twin daughters. Mm-hmm. And it's basically a rescue mission to go get
BJ Blazkowicz.
So
I can't wait.
The entire campaign can be played co-op, or you have the AI partner with you. It looks great. I don't have much to say about it. I like
July 26th comes out,
July
right?
26th.
I got that on my calendar.
Yeah. Mark your calendar
with a heart around it,
So yeah, not too much to say about it. Just very excited about that one.
Yeah, fantastic.
Next, we have maybe one of the coolest trailers I've seen in Deathloop.
Agreed.
Deathloop is basically, we got this really, really cool, stylish, cinematic, almost like James Bond-esque, like, you know, flashes between different shots, and then like it'll like saturate as like a poster looking thing with this really cool music underneath it. It's a new immersive sim from Arcane, which hearing that those words strung together like that is like, yes,
well, Arcane did Prey, right?
Arcane did Dishonored 1 and 2 and Prey. And so they know what they're doing.
Wow.
And now you're looking at this awesome, like, it looks like two assassins, both people of color, going against each other with this, like, awesome style sci-fi. Like, it just, everything that they were showing, I'm like, fuck yes, give me more of this.
Just warms the bones.
It looks so fucking cool. So yeah, it looks like a man or woman. They're on two different sides, because they kept, like, you would hear a voice, like a dialogue line that would be like, you know, and I have to protect this city, and then she would say, and I want to take down the city or something. Like, you can tell they're like in the same, like, they're like in the same timeline.
Their situations are the same, but their outlook on it.
It looks like they're exactly opposed to each other.
Yeah,
so
which is perfect, because he's trying to break the loop, I guess. You know,
Right,
like he wants out.
And she said, like, we got to preserve the loop.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
he's saying we got to break the loop. You know, like, the dichotomy of that is really interesting.
Yeah.
And you know, all along they're showing like them brutally kill each other.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it's just,
she like gets a samurai sword, slices his neck.
Right.
He like wakes up grabbing his neck.
yeah.
And it's like that instant.
And that shot, man, that shot of that like big sci-fi arc thing, I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Well, I was looking
so
at that
cool.
because he looks up at it kind of as he's saying about breaking the loop. Like,
Right.
that's got to be
maybe
something in there.
That's
It's
what I'm
like,
thinking. Yeah.
you got to.
So
It looks awesome.
Yeah, we didn't see any gameplay, but man, like, for a like stylish trailer, like, I don't think you can do better than this. Like, it was so fucking cool.
Yeah, super hyped on that one.
Yeah, no release window, nothing like that. It's probably a ways out. But yeah, this type of game with all those interesting things, and then you tell me it's being made by Arcane, like,
you definitely already.
That's incredible.
And those games are great, Dishonored and Prey, and especially for that like immersive sim.
That's what I'm saying.
Sort of like
they are the immersive sim people. Like, they carry that torch, you know. Like, so I'm super, super excited about that game. Last one I have on here is Doom Eternal.
You pumped?
Could not be more pumped after this, because I was already like, yes, another Doom game, super excited. They showed it in a lot of detail, and they're doubling down on what made Doom great. Doom 2016 I'm talking about. In the platforming, the Metroid-y style of exploring, like, all the secrets that are hidden, like, they totally are doubling down on that, and that just, I could not be more excited, because the important thing to think about is when Doom 2016 came out, they made this single-player campaign kind of thinking that it would be a side story. Like, kind of thinking like, okay, we want to make a multiplayer shooter, but we have a really good narrative team that wants to make a single-player game. Let's make that. And nobody played the multiplayer of that game, and it died really quickly.
Yeah.
But everyone laughed. Anyone that loved that game was like, this is like one of the best single player like shooter campaigns ever. Like, it's incredible. So the fact that they're like, we know what you guys liked, now it's time to focus on that.
Cool.
Gets me so excited. So that game comes out 11/22 this year.
Wow.
Awesome. And I really, really
awesome.
Another November release.
Yeah.
Right after Star Wars and Death Stranding.
That month I just got to take off of.
Yep.
Just take off.
Yep. Oh, God. Yes.
And the Doom 2016 is on Game Pass right now as well.
It was also released for Switch too, if I'm not.
It
correct.
was released for Switch.
They even did a VR version too.
I would not recommend playing it on Switch. Just an FYI.
Thank you.
Yeah, just letting you know.
I appreciate you, bud.
When you buy the Xbox to get Game Pass,
All right.
Buying an Xbox 4 Game Pass.
Well,
Actually, that's
you
actually
can buy a Game
it's
Pass
actually
and
not a
just
bad
get
idea.
the
Yeah.
Game Pass.
That might actually, when you budget that all out, that might
That's what
actually
I'm
make
saying.
a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because there are games on Game Pass that you
would
miss
spend
that you would
way
like to
more.
play,
They're probably like worth $60.
and all these newer games.
Yeah. And what's an Xbox One now?
And if you
know,
guys
like
can lend me
200 $200,
Listen,
$250.
a few $100,
Xbox One is worth it just to play Outer Wilds alone.
Bold
the third one.
statement.
Jeez, he got me with
Bold
the right hook and the left hook.
statement.
Now he's using the leg in
Uppercut.
there. Jeez, Louise.
All right, we're moving on to Ubisoft. Watch Dogs Legion. Really?
I just, you know what? And the reason I say that is because I loved Watch Dogs 1, and then I played Watch Dogs 2, and I was so not into it.
What?
Yeah, I just
That's the
didn't
opposite
like,
of
did
what I
not
thought.
like Watch Dogs 2 at all.
That is so interesting.
I
Because
don't know what it was. I just wasn't
thought,
into it.
I thought the first Watch Dogs was so uninteresting.
It just, I don't know why. I was just so into the first one, and then I know that they had so much more that they can do, so that's what they did with the second one, you know? I don't know. It wasn't my,
I liked the
thing.
second one because I thought it actually had a really good story.
yeah.
That-
well,
that-
I
that's
didn't
what I'm
get
saying.
through the whole story,
Right.
so I guess I wouldn't know. But,
I've never played a Watch Dogs, so I'm just gonna.
That's okay.
I'm gonna let you guys
Yeah.
take
So-
care of this one.
Watch Dogs Legion had leaked before, and then
Yeah, like,
they
yeah.
decided, okay, let's put out a little, let's go on Twitter and make a Watch Dogs Legion Twitter account before the Ubisoft thing, just to say, okay, this is a real game. And the rumors were that you could play as any NPC in the game, and so everyone before seeing it was like, yeah, okay, like
Yeah.
what the hell does that mean? Turns out it's true.
Yeah.
You are not a specific player character. You are the quote-unquote Legion, where you're building a resistance, and you're able to play as any of these NPCs. So, started out, they came on stage, Clint Hawking, who people that like Far Cry 2 as much as I do know Clint Hawking because he made that game.
Okay.
And he really hasn't made a game since. So it's kind of exciting to a guy that makes systems-driven things. Like Far Cry 2 was like such a like visionary for a system-based game like that. So seems like a really good fit for that type of thing. He came on stage. They said in a post-Brexit future London, the surveillance state is everywhere. He had this whole spiel about saying, we need to overthrow, the people that are in power, blah, blah, blah. So the whole idea of the game is, hey, DedSec is trying to start an uprising to take down, the people that are keeping us down, right? So the shtick of the game is, whatever character you end up starting as or whatever, you just like hit something and you get to see, similar to other Watch Dogs games,
yeah.
you get like a little profile of the person, right? You're like pulling the data from their phone, you're figuring out who they are. In this one, you're looking at them and then you're like, I want to recruit them. You hit a button to recruit them. You start their like origin mission. And then you play as them and do a certain thing, and voila, they are part of your resistance, right? Part of the Legion. And you can do that with every single NPC in the game.
Wow.
Every single one. Even enemies, even anything.
Wow.
Now, where it gets interesting, and the question is, this sounds very ambitious, right? Can they pull this off? I have no fucking idea. But what they're pitching is super interesting, and what really gets me, and this is like the guy that loves Vampire for its weird like systems, is when you're recruiting people, right? You have this big group of people that's your Legion or whatever. If you go in and go on a mission and you say, okay, because you get to choose how you want to do it, right? You want to be stealthy. He's a tech guy. He can like bypass security stuff, whatever. You go in guns blazing, right? Say a guy goes in guns blazing, kills a bunch of guys. Turns out someone in your Resistance, one of the guys that you killed is his brother. Now the guy says, fuck that guy.
Talk about systems.
I hate this guy. I don't even like the DedSec anymore. I'm not doing... And he could just... That's it.
Talk about those systems.
That's the shit that
you
I
love.
Yeah. Because that is really fucking cool. That is where this all comes together for me, where it's not just a gimmick. You're making things...
It's fully fleshed out, like, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Also, interesting thing, when you are on a mission, you get killed, let's say. You go down. Now, you have the option in that moment. Get back up or bow out of the mission and end it. If you bow out, your guy stays alive, no big deal. If you stay in it, you get back up. If you get killed again, that guy's dead, permadeath, done. And there are some interesting questions around, I don't want to get too deep and philosophical with this. We have a lot of different stuff, but there's questions around there are, let's just say, in this culture, this civilization in London, with all the the surveillance state, there's drones flying with guns attached, watching everyone. You're telling me that every single guard is like ready to be radicalized?
That's quite a statement.
Also, like
it's a political statement that is kind of ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Like, so because we know as human beings that an example is there are cops that like to be a cop because they like the power and for bad reasons, right?
Right.
And then there are cops that want to do right and help people. So if you're going to tell me I can go up to any cop and say, hey, man, you want to be part of the resistance? And they're like, hell yeah. Like, you're full of shit. You know what I mean? Like, some people are like, no, I want to take down the resistance. So that's kind of where, ideologically, it raises some interesting questions. But, yeah, that's why I'm saying it's a video game, and it's trying to be ambitious in its systems, and sometimes they might just have to say, hey, you know what? We want everyone to be available to have this. Everyone, you can recruit everyone, right? Like, that's just, it is what it is. And we can talk about it when it comes out and we play it and we figure out if they nail it or not. But yeah, it's a hell of a pitch. And the fact that it comes out March 6th makes it even more of a hell of a pitch, because that's soon. You know what I mean? Like, I could have seen them announcing this and then being like, it's coming out in 2 years.
Yeah.
But they're ready to go, I guess. So
we'll see, unless it gets delayed.
A lot of people on the writing team are people that I respect in writing. Like, have written other things that are very good. So I'm like, okay, that's interesting. That's good. These are good things. Clint Hawking, good. I like. So it's kind of coming together to get me excited for it.
Can I get a dream made in heaven anymore?
Ding.
And the counter goes up.
Like I said, there's a lot to this, and I'm really, really interested. I just can't wait to get my hands on it and see how it turns out.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Because something I didn't mention is when you look at somebody's profile, it'll show basically what you need to do to recruit them. So it's kind of like it's more like lore than actual mechanics. So it'll be like, hey, this guy has he owes $50,000 to a loan shark. So your way of recruiting him is like, hey, you want to join the resistance? We'll take care of that loan. No problem. Someone might say, I have pictures of me cheating on my wife, and I need those gone because someone's blackmailing me, and I can't live my life. You say, hey, you want to join the resistance? We'll get rid of those pictures.
Now, here's the thing. When you open that up to every NPC, I really hope it just doesn't get repetitive.
That's the question.
That's the worry, right? Yeah.
Like, is every thing over and over again? Like every 5 people is going to be a pay off a loan shark sort of situation. Right. And of course, there are going to be some similarities between them. It might not be
what they're
that
saying. What they're saying is every single person has their own story. But there are specific archetypes, classes almost. I think they said there are 7 or 9 classes. So the people themselves play a certain way that will be similar to each other.
Yeah.
But their stories, from what they're saying, are all unique stories. Every NPC in the game.
That's a nice big pitch.
It's a big pitch. I'm very interested.
We'll have to see if they pull it off.
Yeah. We'll see in March.
I hope it's there. I hope the gameplay's fun.
Yeah.
I hope the story sticks. I hope it's fun.
All right. That's Watch Dogs Legion. There's some Rainbow Six Siege stuff that was talked about. I like Rainbow Six Siege, so it's of interest to me. I'm not gonna go crazy with it because
it's a game that's been around.
Yeah, and the people that want that are already know about it. So what is interesting is that they announced a new game, Rainbow Six Quarantine, which announced for the first time. It's a 3-player co-op PvE, basically kind of like Left 4 Dead, which also sounds awesome.
Yeah,
because Left 4 Dead is awesome. That's coming out 2020. They showed a really cool little game called Roller Champions.
Oh, that game looks awesome.
Yeah. Very Rocket League inspired. It's like Rocket League, but roller derby, right?
NHL.
Yeah.
And I actually know a few more details about how it plays. But before that, I'll just say there's a demo out now, but the full game won't be out until 2020.
Okay.
So you can try it.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. But the way the game plays, and this is actually really interesting. So it's a cylindrical ring, right, that you're going around on. So it's like 1st to 5 wins, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you get the ball, run it over, throw it in the circle, you get 1 point. If you take the ball, you go past the goal, wrap around again, get all the way back, and throw it through, you get 3 points. If you go twice around the ring,
5 points.
Game over.
Yeah.
1 shot.
That's hard to do, probably.
But that's really interesting, isn't it? I love.
Is that how that game works?
Well,
this is a real game. I mean,
I don't
roller derby's a thing.
Yeah, but not like this.
Yeah.
This is like, big sci-fi hoops you throw it into.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell roller derby is, but I don't think it's like this.
But it looks dope because you could just line up coming in with an accelerator and just lay somebody the frig out.
It looks really neat. I really want to try the demo and
give it a shot.
See how it feels. Yeah.
I know they had it on the floor. They will let people play it on the floor.
It just looks like so much fun.
Looks cool.
Yeah.
That's definitely a game for us to play.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And with the popularity of games like Rocket League,
definitely.
Yeah,
that's why Rocket League is so important because it really opens the door for other weird sports games.
Yeah.
Because there was a real 100%. So
Hundo P on that one.
that's Roller Champions. Then we had John Bernthal came out with a dog and gave a very awkward speech about his character in Ghost Recon. Breakpoint is actually awesome, even though I think he's the main villain. So I don't know how that one works.
It's okay.
I know they're trying to go in the gray area, who's good, who's bad. But, I don't know about Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I think they're trying some interesting things.
Yeah. From the gameplay that they showed not too long ago, I was interested. Like, I wanted to play it watching that. So let's see how it continues. Hopefully, like the switching between characters, doing stuff like that is an element that I was interested in.
Yeah, well, Wildlands, Ghost Recon Wildlands had a lot of that. What they're trying to do with this is say, okay, it's more of an open world game, and you can do a lot of different things. They compared it to Breath of the Wild a couple times in a previous demo that I saw. So I'm like,
interesting.
They're not what they're showing doesn't fucking look like that. No. This looks like a regular ass Ghost Recon game, and I could care less. So we'll see when it comes out. Coming out October 4th this year. So
all right,
who knows? Lastly, on Ubisoft, I have Gods and Monsters was revealed. No gameplay. Looks beautiful from what they showed. This is their long-rumored Breath of the Wild-like game where they actually want it to be like an open space, go where you want kind of thing. People have been talking about this game for a long time with them. I forget exactly. It's like this is a guy. I don't know if your protagonist. I think he is like hired by gods to take out monsters. Pretty much, like that's the whole pitch. Is like he's the Witcher for the gods. You know, they didn't really say that much about it, but it looks neat. Sounds cool. It's by the Ubisoft, or it's by the Assassin's Creed Odyssey team.
Just sticking with that, Crooks.
But they said they were excited to be able to branch out and do like a more fantasy type of game. So I'm interested. Comes out February 25th next year.
Yeah. So I'm excited maybe at the end of this year to see some more to see actual gameplay.
Yes,
you know, like
exactly.
they didn't show gameplay.
That's going to be
right again.
Like
it was
right
a
now,
very
it's like,
short trailer. Too,
yeah, but right now it's like looks cool.
No.
And now I'm interested
to see a little more.
Now next time I see something, that'll be
You had a little taste, a little.
yeah. Ooh, some fava beans.
Yeah.
So that's gods and monsters. Next we have Square Enix. I left a lot of stuff off this list because
they showed a lot of stuff.
Showed a lot of stuff that wasn't really my jam. Two big ones obviously
Elephant
are
in the room.
Final Fantasy VII Remake, and Avengers. So Final Fantasy Remake.
What's that?
Final Fantasy VII Remake. They showed a lot.
You're very convincing for a second.
They showed a lot. They even showed a lot of gameplay.
First boss.
Yeah, they showed the spider tank fight.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to cut you off.
Well,
say what you're saying.
Yeah, all I was really going to say is, usually when people don't want to cut you off, they don't say anything.
You didn't even follow it up.
It was the primal instinct.
I don't want to cut you off.
I should not.
Yeah, usually there's a but after that.
Yeah, exactly. But really, all I was going to say is they showed some gameplay. They talked about it. We saw Barrett and Cloud fighting the spider tank, and it looked neat. I actually like the look of this game. I think it's beautiful. I think the gameplay looks more fun than I was expecting. I thought it was going to be just like a Final Fantasy 15 kind of mashy, but no, they're doing some stuff. They let you pause time to like do certain things, so it's kind of like a pseudo, a mix between turn-based and real time. And it sounds cool. You switch between the characters. You can set them up to do different moves. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say that it's weird that, and again, forgive me for before. I do feel like it was very weird that it's only going to be the Midgar section of the game.
Well, that's the big elephant.
This is Final Fantasy VII Part 1 in game mode. That's apparently going to be just as long as a regular Final Fantasy game, but it's just the Midgar section. So you're not getting the whole Final Fantasy game.
So... Yes. Yeah. My understanding.
March, whatever it is.
My understanding. Yeah. So they announced the release date March 3rd, 2020. My understanding is this is a full-fledged game, and it ends at a certain point, and then they'll release another game that picks up from there and ends at a certain point, and I bet you they'll have a third game.
So you're talking a $60 price point every time they do this?
Yes. But so here's the argument. People get that in their heads, and they're like, why am I paying $60 for a part of a game? If this is a 40-hour full-fledged RPG experience with a full story, what's the argument?
Right.
I get it. It was one game initially, but you're making a remake. What?
All I'm saying is
they're free to do what they want to do.
The Midgar section was my favorite part of the original game anyway, so I'll take it.
I have not played this game, and as somebody who's never really been interested in Final Fantasy, I'm in. This game completely appeals to me. Like, I totally want to play it.
I actually am. I really liked what I saw.
I'm excited too.
Yeah, I really liked what I saw. I still don't love that Barrett's still saying "suck on this" and shit like that. So
it hasn't.
I almost feel like if you took that out, I don't know, but I feel like if you took stuff like that out, people would be like, "Well, where's Barrett's banter?"
Yeah, but
you can have banter that's not like inherently racist.
I don't know if it was part of the first game, but they talk a lot to each other, like very similar to, like I was saying last time.
I'm a little worried about that part.
Like, he talks a lot,
Reminds
like they do
me
in
of
Final Fantasy 15, yeah.
Which I didn't like. That's honestly, so the people that love this game, like love 7 to begin with, are going to eat up every single little line of banter. So what I'm saying is for a not fanatic, like, it sounds like it's going to get annoying how much they were talking. Like it was a lot. But it looks beautiful. I like the way the combat looks. So I think
Yeah, I just have complex feelings towards Final Fantasy VII. So
yes, me too. And I'm hopeful that this is their chance. They're not gonna. It's a remake, so they're still keeping the main story, obviously.
Right.
But this is their chance to fix some of those glaring problems, like I said, and they're not giving me much confidence that they're gonna do
that. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it still might just be. It might come out, and I'll be like, hey, it's a pretty fun game with the same annoyances I had at the original 7, so it's pretty good. Because I look back on 7 and say, hey, that's a pretty good game. I do. I don't look at it and say, oh, that game sucks.
No.
I joke around about it because the other Final Fantasy games that I love are
from
so much better.
Yeah.
So it's easy to when you're comparing. But if I'm looking at that game as a game, I'm like, hey, that's a good game.
No, for sure.
So, who knows? Not much more to say about that other than comes out March 3rd, like I said. So that's a pretty good date for that. I think that's good. The big thing is, when is part 2 coming?
Right.
If we're waiting 3 years for part 2, I think that's going to be a problem.
That would be a big problem.
But I think that's what's going to happen, if I'm being honest. Hopefully they come out a year later, put it out, and then a year later put out part 3.
Yeah, a few years. That's going to let this
I really think it's going to be like 3 years.
Yeah. If anything, it would be bigger between, if they do, like you said, go to a third part. It would be, the biggest part would be between 1 and 2, see the reaction, and then put out 2, and 3 will probably come quicker if there is a third part. If the reaction's good.
But aside from the reaction, are they capable of putting it out quicker? That's the real question. It's not like they're choosing to take their time.
Right,
like
this is
what they do.
Yeah.
They take forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, fans rejoice, and we will say, we'll see. Other big one, obviously, was the Avengers. Actually, I'm going to look up exactly what they're calling this.
Is it Marvel Ultimate
Marvel's
Alliance?
Avengers.
Marvel's Avengers.
Wait, then what's Marvel Ultimate Alliance?
That's another game.
That was another one, like Ultimate Alliance 3 or something.
Yeah,
right?
Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 were on 360.
Gotcha.
And were fun, like Diablo-esque kind of things.
Guys.
Yeah. So yeah, they showed off some cinematics, and what I think is the tutorial section of the game.
Yeah.
I think I figured out that that's literally like, because they weren't showing a HUD, but I think we were seeing some gameplay, and I'm assuming in that, this is like huge assumptions. Like, I have no fucking idea if this is true or not, but I think in that opening section of where San Francisco gets destroyed, you are seeing, you're playing all the characters, and then they're gonna say, well, "Who's your character?"
Yeah,
that's my guess.
I completely agree.
So that's like the tutorial section, I think, because you saw it kind of swapping between the viewpoints of all the different heroes, and then Captain America died on the ship, and then it jumps to 5 years later, which a little less of an impact after after Endgame.
Yeah, seriously.
Because that was the coolest fucking thing in that movie. But yeah, basically they showed this off, the cinematics, and I don't know about you guys, but it didn't look that good. I was completely unimpressed.
Yeah.
And especially the way they were talking about it on stage, like
that's what was, everybody was super, like they were building the hype like crazy.
Absurd.
And everybody's like, this is gonna be the best game ever.
And they kept talking about these characters like we don't all know who they are. They're like,
and there's this guy named Captain America.
They're like, the Hulk, he is really strong. It's like, we fucking know, dude. Like, he's the Hulk. Shut up. Show the gameplay. So they announced coming out May 15th next year. I have no fucking idea.
Yeah.
That could be fun. That could be.
There you go.
But really, honestly, are we getting the story that we want? Like, are we getting? Because the interesting idea is, like, these are their own versions of the characters, right? They're not likenesses of the movie stars. They they're given the freedom to say, hey, make your own Avengers story.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool idea. I love that comics can do that. That's my favorite part about comics, is that everyone has different takes on these heroes, right? And they showed like some cinematics. They showed, long-haired Tony talking to Bruce, right? Like they showed these cinematics, like the story's gonna matter. But then they're talking about it like it's a Destiny game, and I'm like, those two things have been proven to not be compatible.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we getting?
We'll see.
Is it two separate types of games, or are they misleading you with these cutscenes? That's what I need to know.
Yeah.
Because what an Avengers game should be is a really cool story first, and then figure the rest out. So if it's not that, you don't have me. But
I used to love those X-Men Legends games.
Yeah,
Like something like that, like in that vein.
Yeah, honestly. There's a lot of stuff you can do with these licenses. Obviously, we've seen a fighting game, we've seen arcade games, we've seen a bunch of stuff. But if you're in this time where we are right now, if you're not telling a cool story,
then it's just
then what are we doing? You know what I mean?
Pass it for sure.
It's gonna sell gangbusters. I'm not concerned for them about that. It's just, is it gonna be any good?
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully.
So it's out in May, so we'll see.
Yeah. And I like Tony's being played by Nolan North. You got Bruce being played by Troy Baker, like two pretty heavy hitters in the video game
The heavy
mocap
hitters.
world,
Yeah.
And not a Hulk reference saying heavy hitter, if that's what you were just saying.
No, that's what
But I was also, I was talking to Ralph the other day, and he was like, are we gonna play as Bruce Banner, or are you only going to play as the Hulk? And I think you would only play as the Hulk, and if you're playing as Bruce, why? Unless it's like your spy mission shit is going to be Black Widow stuff. Well,
it depends. I mean, gameplay doesn't have to be combat.
No, it doesn't. But it's like,
So-
are you going to walk around a lab?
Well,
We'll see what happens.
I mean, you did it as Peter Parker.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. But it was, that was the other thing. We brought it up. We were like, is it going to be an upgrade thing? Because that was sort of like when you were in the lab as Peter Parker, you were doing the mini games and stuff like that and learning lore. And he was like, maybe you and Tony as Bruce might work on stuff and upgrade armor and do stuff like that. And then when you're in the real world, you're playing as the Hulk. And I was like, I don't know. We could all see. We'll see what happens when we get there.
Yeah. Just even asking these questions is setting ourselves up for failure.
Yep.
Because this isn't the game that we want it to be, I don't think. But I would love to be surprised. Dying Light 2 still looks and sounds incredible. The more I hear about the game, the more excited I am for it.
Yeah.
They narrowed the release date to spring 2020. Finally, only other thing I have on here from Square Enix, they are remastering Final Fantasy VIII. So,
Get to play Squall?
Kill.
your boy Squall be throwing his hair to the side like he likes to do, Bieber style, and so fans of VIII, rejoice.
You're getting crickets from me. I have no idea.
8 was always the the overshadowed one, but
People love it. It's so funny. We talk about like the Final Fantasy games post Final Fantasy 7, but there is like such a diehard fan base for 8, for 9, for 10, for 11, for 13. Like there is that like fan base where like, no, that's the best one.
You're right.
And I don't know. Maybe I'm just pretentious. I'm just not really into it.
Maybe you are.
I think I'm just pretentious.
You don't have to be pretentious to be not into something.
I think I'm very pretentious. I cut people off when they talk. It's crazy. It's
Well, that's true.
No, that's just being rude.
I'm pretentious and rude.
All right. Last but certainly not least, we have Nintendo. So Nintendo Direct Tuesday morning.
They seem to be doing all right for
It seems to
themselves,
be
I
doing
guess.
pretty good. Yeah. So right off the bat, I have Luigi's Mansion 3. Looks fine. Luigi's Mansion games are fun.
I'm into it, man. I'm totally into it.
Luigi is absolute nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
Not only because he's a goo version of Luigi, but because when you swap, so they're doing like a swapper kind of thing, right? When you swap consciousness to Luigi just goes totally slack.
Limp, yeah.
It's totally so disturbing.
But the option is you can do it with a co-op and you both control the characters. That's cool.
Yes.
But then again, we haven't played a co-op version with this IP
Right.
yet, so it's like now it's totally
Listen,
thing
I will
playing
play this
for it.
game. I will enjoy this game.
Yeah.
I can't be like super hyped for a Luigi's Mansion game. I just can't.
Well, here's the thing. I loved Luigi's Mansion 1 on GameCube. The second one was only for DS.
3DS.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that just came out
And
not
that's
too
it?
long ago. That's
Like,
it.
come
I think it
on.
came out 2013.
Put it on Switch.
Oh, it feels like yesterday.
I want to play that one, and I've never had a DS. Come on,
high
now.
school that year. Seems like yesterday.
Feels like yesterday. Now I know what you're saying.
You know, like I want to play Luigi's Mansion 2. I don't.
I played
have
it.
a 3DS.
I played it. It's better than the first. It's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if the first one still holds up.
No, it doesn't.
No.
It holds up in that it's cool. Like I
Yeah.
actually really like the aesthetic. I like how weird it is. I like Dr. Egad.
Right. That's
Yeah.
very nostalgic for me. Like that's what
Me too,
That
big
was when
time.
the game
Yeah.
came out. Like
But I went and played it recently, and
No. I like that this third one is a hotel and every floor is different. You know, like that's pretty cool.
right.
the
gotta
stage
like
layout.
that.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm being honest. I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
But like I said, this is not a game that you watch and you're like, hell yeah, I'm excited. You
Been
know?
waiting for this for years. No. Still, put Luigi's Mansion on Switch, please.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
Luigi's Mansion 2.
Luigi's Mansion 3 coming out later 2019, they said. So look forward to that.
Soon. Yeah, I mean, it looked pretty polished up. So.
Next one, very, very exciting. Seiken Densetsu 3. If you guys don't know what it is, it's a sequel to Secret of Mana.
Oh yeah.
It only came out in Japan. It was never localized in English. And holy shit, when I was younger, I would look at screenshots of that game and just be like, give me the game, please. Why can't I play this game? Like, so upset. And they actually released it.
It's like it's a bundle now, right?
The collection.
The
though.
Mana Collection.
Yeah.
It's the original NES game, The Secret of Mana, Super NES game, and then Second Densetsu 3.
And the first one, the Final Fantasy Adventure.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Adventure, and then that.
Right.
And what they're doing is they're making a full remake of Second Densetsu 3, full remake, like from the ground up, and it's coming in 2020.
Trials of Mana.
Yeah, Trials of Mana, it's called. Really cool all around. Every single bit of that news is really neat. But the fact that that trilogy is out now on Switch and you can play Second Densetsu 3 for the first time, like you can play it.
It's a big deal.
Fucking nuts, man. And every write-up you ever saw from somebody that would write about it is like, this is one of the best RPGs ever made.
Oh,
and
man,
you would hear it and you'd be like, come on, stop. So finally out, I think that's really fucking cool.
So here's the thing. I've never played a game in that series, and I know that they redid the first one and called it Adventures of Mana.
Yes.
But it only came out for Vita.
Yes.
And then they obviously just redid Secret of Mana, and it had mixed reviews.
Oh, bad.
Just play the one for the Super Nintendo.
The one that just came out on Switch
It's the Super
is the
Nintendo
Super
port,
Nintendo
right?
port.
Yeah.
That's the way to play
And it's got
that
all
game.
three of them, and I think it's like $30 or
Yes.
$40.
Yes.
Yeah,
And,
you really can't beat
And
that
that's the way to play them.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, the fact that it's on Switch, I was gonna go for that anyway.
You
I just
should.
wanted your opinions.
Yes, that's the one to do.
Yeah.
Seriously, the secret of go for
Yeah.
the original.
Absolutely go for the original.
Cool.
Next, the hero from Dragon Quest is coming to Smash. It's just called Hero because you're swapping between different heroes from different Dragon Quest games, like different, main playable characters, which I think is actually a really neat idea. It looks like, so I'm assuming it's one character with what do they call them? Shadow form? What do they call them?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I've actually never played a Dragon Quest game, so
No.
In Smash.
Oh.
You know, like
your-
Dark Samus and
right,
Samus
yeah.
and Dark Pit.
It's a Shadow something.
I
It's
know
not
what you
Shadow.
mean.
I forget what it is.
No.
You keep talking. I'll look this up.
Yeah.
But I think what they're gonna do is, that's what I'm curious. Is it a button that makes you switch between these guys, or is it you pick one going in?
Prior to, yeah. I don't know.
Because it could be like a Pokemon trainer kind of thing where you're
Yeah.
swapping between three different, whatever.
I mean,
but
they could easily do that, but how many heroes are there? Did they say?
I saw 3 or 4 being played.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
I know there's like 10 or
No,
12 Dragon Quest games.
So for his Final Smash, you see all of them.
Okay.
But in actual gameplay, I think there's 3 or 4. But the interesting thing is, they all had completely different moves
Yeah.
based on what they had in the
Yeah.
games, which is a really fucking cool idea.
Yeah.
So I'm not the biggest Dragon Quest fan. What is it?
Echo Fighters.
Echo Fighters.
Echoes, yeah.
So that's what I'm wondering. Is this Echo? Like, are there Echo versions that are
Yeah.
the different heroes, or are you playing as a character hitting neutral B
Right.
and switching to a different one,
Yeah.
and
But
then all of a sudden he has all different special moves.
The Echo Fighters kind of had the same moveset, or I don't.
Yeah.
Remember. Yeah. So this with
a
different
little,
moveset.
but with a little, they would always have like a little
twist on it,
variation.
yeah.
So I could see that happening.
So,
It's
it could be
interesting.
either or, and
Yeah.
it could be a good thing regardless.
Either way,
like,
yeah.
either way it
Yeah.
is. It could be
Absolutely.
It looks like a good thing.
And then they showed Link's Awakening remake. Showed another
Boring.
trailer, release date announcement of
that game looks
September
awesome.
20th. Can't wait to play that.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it's gonna
god!
be
I
so
heard
good.
some people that were hands on, big time frame rate issues.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, which is I don't know how the fuck that works.
I mean, it's a different kind of style of animation than we've seen.
yeah. I'm hoping. I mean, they still have 3 months iron that shit out, so I'm assuming that'll be fine. I mean, Nintendo doesn't put out janky games,
Yeah.
so I would be surprised if it
Yeah.
came out framey. Except for Breath of the Wild on Wii U was very framey.
It
Okay.
wasn't.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we all played it on Switch, I think, right? So.
I played it on Wii U.
Oh, did you?
Really?
Yeah.
I got a Switch.
I got Switch when what's Mario plus Rabbids came out. I think it was August or something.
Oh, okay.
And that because I knew Odyssey was coming out in September,
Yeah.
so I got
Gotcha.
it for those two
Gotcha.
instead.
Got it.
Yeah, not much to say about Link's Awakening remake.
Well,
Still looks
yeah,
great.
super excited.
The
We talked about
dungeon,
that, yeah.
the dungeon stuff.
Yeah, they're
know.
making like a dungeon maker, which is like you make your
Yeah.
own room. Like you don't make the rooms,
You
they're
unlock the
preset
rooms and
that
you can-
unlock, and
yeah,
then you get to put them in the order of what you're
Yeah.
doing. I
So
think
they
that's really
said
cool.
that's the reason they did this game, because it was the easiest one to add that dungeon builder to it.
Oh, really?
That was the reason that
Interesting.
they chose Link's Awakening, because
Wow.
it was the one that fit most
Yeah.
with that style of gameplay.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
And it looks cool. It's a way to unlock little extra
Mhm.
things, and
Right. Neat.
Nintendo's working on all those build your own games.
Right.
Yeah.
Super Mario Maker's a couple weeks
Oh,
away.
yeah.
man, I can't wait.
Yeah.
But yeah, Link's Awakening. I think we're all excited. So.
Yes. I would imagine. Next, I have the Contra Anniversary Collection, surprise announce and release same
It's
day.
already out. Yeah.
Those games are fucking awesome.
Those are awesome games. I agree.
And now we have such a good way to do a Friends and Foes with Contra Hardcore.
Oh, yeah.
Because Contra Hardcore is my favorite Contra.
That's awesome.
I've
And it's
never
on
played
there,
any of
baby.
them.
Yeah, so that'd be a lot of fun.
Let's do that.
Yeah, not much to say about that. Contra, so, honestly, there are a few that are amazing, and then the rest you can forget about.
That's true.
That's kind of how
how
it
many
works.
games are in this collection?
I believe there are 10 actually.
Wow. Yeah, you just need Contra, Super C, Alien Wars.
Alien Wars and Hardcore.
Yeah.
Hardcore always gets overlooked. The game is good as hell.
Let's play it.
Yeah. Also, I'll just briefly say I don't even have it on the list because it looks so bad. They announced a new new Contra game that looks like terrible. Like third person, looks literally like it was on the Wii. Like it looks terrible. The resolution was like 360p. Embarrassing.
It's okay. Nintendo makes
potato
up for it
quality.
anyway. So
Yeah, it was bizarre. Totally
Yeah.
bizarre. But luckily we got the good Contras. Next we have Animal Crossing New Horizons, they're calling it. Got a really good trailer showing off some of the new mechanics, which we'll get into, and some shitty landlord Tom Nook shenanigans ensued, which everyone loves. He makes you buy a cell phone in this one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He said, "Here's your cell phone. You owe me
Tom
a
Nook.
couple $1,000." But yeah, it looks cool. I mean, they showed something that they showed a lot of little stuff in this trailer that gets me excited because I'm a big Animal Crossing fan. But they showed this thing where you like put a pole in the river and you can cross the river even not at a bridge point. It's just like the littlest, weirdest thing. But if you play Animal Crossing, you're like, oh, it's neat. It looks like you're on an island and then you're kind of building out the town. It showed a lot of you can build pathways now.
Cool.
It looks like they're really taking Animal Crossing to like its ultimate form. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
So
Seems like they're breaking some new horizons with this one.
yeah,
I don't know.
into new horizons.
Tom Nook. Once and
I've never played an
always
Animal
an
Crossing
asshole.
game, so I know they have a huge following.
Oh, they're fucking great. Did it all for the nookie. Release date March 20th, 2020.
Nice one.
Next, I have Astral Chain, the Platinum Games game. That looks fucking dope.
Yeah, this game looks so cool.
I have been, ever since we saw it for the first time, I'm like, yes, another awesome action game from Platinum. Release date August 30th. Not much to say about it except I'm excited.
Yeah.
Then the second biggest news, I would say, Banjo-Kazooie coming to Smash.
What a great
That's
reveal, too.
amazing.
It was
Yeah.
such a
So
good
well
reveal
done.
when they did it with the duck hunt.
But they sat there. This was what was great. So Donkey Kong, Diddy, and King K. Rool were all like laying in Donkey Kong's hut. And then they hear something outside, and they all look out there, and it looks like Banjo-Kazooie silhouette. And then it like shows, and it's Duck Hunt like posing like
It's like
Banjo-Kazooie.
the dog with the bird over him.
And they're all like, like all angry. They're all like beating up the outside of the hut. And then Banjo comes down and like smashes Duck Hunt. And then they go over to Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, and King K. Rool. Their eyes are popping out. They're like banging on the outside, like so jacked up. It was one of the funniest things. I was like cackling. Oh, so good. So Banjo, long time fans have wanted him in there. Now Microsoft and Nintendo are working very closely together. They're able to do that deal. Yeah. I think it's fucking awesome.
Now we got Simon and Banjo. Those are my two that I was like, oh, they need to have that.
And they showed like
I think it's
immediately
really,
after
really
that
cool.
they went right into showing some of his movesets and stuff like so it seems like he has awesome stuff. Which the thing about the first Banjo game, how many different things could you do in that game? You know, like now you could add that into a fighting game. It's pretty sick.
It's really cool. I'm super excited for that. I already have the pass, whatever, the fighter's pass.
Me too.
Which gets you everything.
Yeah, because I want a Joker and then all these guys. So
Same.
It's exciting.
That is exciting.
Very excited.
Last item of Nintendo and of the E3.
I feel like this is the greatest.
I mean, nothing
news.
tops Banjo.
Excuse me. This tops everything else at E3.
Combined.
This is what I wrote. Best trailer of E3 to end the direct. A really dark mood piece showing Link and Zelda spelunking. And it ends up being an announcement that they're making a sequel to the best Zelda game, Breath of the Wild. And I could not be more excited. If the tone of this trailer is indicating a darker tone and a Majora's Mask to Breath of the Wild's Ocarina, it's likely to overtake Breath of the Wild as the best Zelda game ever.
And that's what it looks like.
That's what it looks like.
Holy shit, what a trailer!
It was so good.
Ganon was scary.
What a trailer! Do you think that was Ganon?
I don't think it was Ganon.
I don't think it was Ganon. I thought it
It
was
could
Ganon.
be. No, it could
very
be.
well could be because it has
But
the
I
orange
don't
hair.
know if
but
it definitely is. That's the question.
Okay.
So
it's Mummy Ganon.
it was just
But yeah, that's what.
every part of this trailer is so fucking cool. The way the music was like backward, it sounded like it was being played
It sounded
reverse.
like Twilight. Like it sounded like Twilight Princess.
And the way everything looked, and when you see Zelda and Link like adventuring together, I'm like, what? This is fucking awesome. This looks so cool.
Hair.
She cut her hair.
Then the little crack in the neck.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
And
so
and
much.
the guy voiceover was like, the shit that I love is that he's like the royal family and the curse or whatever, the calamity have been linked for forever.
yes,
and I'm
perfect.
like, oh, I love
Perfect.
this shit.
Perfect.
Like, give it to me.
Perfect.
And then when they do that snap cut to far wide shot, and it looks like the castle's like rising up.
Oh my gosh, I know. Goosebumps for real. Seriously, I
Oh
hope, and
my
if they and like you
God.
said, if they take it like in a darker.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine? Breath of the Wild is so good already, and if they are gonna do anything to that game and make it more like a Majora's Mask type of thing, like, oh my god!
If they bring it, like, it looks like an underground sort of thing, and if they go underground and put some really, like, thought into some dungeons down there, like,
yeah, seriously,
yes, please.
Well, that's the question: is it gonna be that universe, that world, that engine, but more of a traditional Zelda type game? I'll be so disappointed, but fans will love it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll love it. I'm not saying I won't love it, but the reason Breath of the Wild
Right.
is my favorite Zelda game is because it was different. So if they make it like Breath of the Wild and add some dungeons, I'm on board, absolutely. But
Yeah.
I would hate it to just be
Just
like,
Just be like that
Ocarina,
Ocarina,
what it
and
was,
just
yeah.
go here, go there. Yeah.
But people would love it.
People would love it. I would honestly.
I mean,
love
we
it.
talked
You know,
about it
I-
right
what
here.
I-
Breath
what
of the
I'm saying
Wild is
well,
fantastic, but the dungeon, just the 4 dungeons that you did, which weren't really dungeons, but that was the only thing that we thought wasn't fully fleshed out. Whereas you still have the mass
Oh,
exploration.
you mean like when you
stuff.
fight the Guardians? When you
the
fight
4 Guardian
yeah,
things? Yeah. Like they were a little short, not fully fleshed out. If they could just add and make those a little bit better, but still have the massive exploration.
But I truly, because this argument always comes up of like,
yeah,
would Breath of the Wild been better if it had real full dungeons? And it's like the shrines were the dungeons.
Yeah.
The 4 bosses weren't the dungeon. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. Those
the
are the story beats.
there were
Yeah,
so
the
many of
puzzle
these little
shrines,
shrines that were the dungeons.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, so you're changing the DNA if you're taking that out and adding dungeons.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which, like I said, I keep saying fans will love it or people will love it. Of course, I will love it too. But what I mean when I say people will love it is people that don't like Breath of the Wild will be happy.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I mean when I
Right.
say that.
I see what you're saying.
Because there are a lot of people like that. Ralph.
Hi, Ralph.
But here's the thing: if it's in that same universe as Breath of the Wild, you would hope like the shrines encompass that world, and you would hope that it would continue to do that.
Yes.
Which would be a great thing.
But that's the interesting thing. It looks like the ground breaks, and it looks like they might be underground or something. So maybe it's like a I don't know.
Lift up and go into the sky like
Oh.
Skyward Sword. I don't know.
We already did that once. We don't want to. They're very excited. They didn't have a
Yeah.
release date. They said they're working on it, right?
Yeah,
So,
it's gonna
you
be a
know.
while, I'm sure. But I will say
They're working on it.
that game came out 2017.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Maybe 2 more years.
Yeah,
could be.
I could see that being
It's the
early
same, like we
2021
said.
or
It's the
something.
same engine.
That's the
Assumably.
thing. It might make it a little bit of a quicker turnaround.
Yeah,
Because look at the time
help.
between Ocarina and Majora. It's pretty tight.
That was only
2
2
years.
So
That means this game should be out already. It's going to be coming out today.
Imagine they were just
Imagine
like
them
out
just
now.
like-
Oh,
Well, what I'm saying is
shit, that
maybe-
would have been crazy.
That actually would have been nuts.
that would have been, yeah.
There would have been chaos.
But what I'm saying, like, it is possible we get that game next year,
Yeah,
based on the fact that it's the same. Like I said,
Yeah.
it's the entire same
next
engine.
year's E3, it'll come out day of.
That'd be incredible. Holy moly.
I don't know about that one. All right, that wraps it up for Nintendo and wraps it up for E3. This was a jumbo episode. We hope you guys enjoyed.
Thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you so much, guys,
Yeah.
and thank you, Dan, for being here.
I just want to thank you guys. I just want to say us 3 together on this lovely morning. It's a dream made in heaven. So I really appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Pennies from heaven.
Stop cutting
To
Dan
be,
off and
to
let him
be.
finish.
Thank you, Shelby, for being here.
Of course.
And again, Dan already said, but thank you all for listening. We hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for a Sekiro spoiler cast coming in the near future. And as you know, every other week we put out one of these. So thank you guys, and until next time, peace. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching and or listening. Just here to remind you that you can find us by searching for Circle Back Podcast or Circle Back Gaming on any of these podcast services: Anchor, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, or Stitcher. By God, I'm out of breath because of all these podcast services, but you can find us anywhere there. Also, you can find our video version on YouTube by searching Circle Back Podcast or Circle Back Gaming, and the rest of the videos we do. Thanks, guys.